Testing, testing, testing.
Hello.
What's up?
You streaming right now?
I'm streaming right now, yeah?
You streaming right now? Well, okay, so
Whoa.
so
Hold
now
on
it's
1 second. I'm gonna test my volume on my
so now
stream. I
it's
just started. 1 second. I'm gonna test my
okay.
volume on my stream. I just started.
Do you want me to head out?
No, you're good. You can hang around. This is pretty much gonna be. There's not no formal content plan. Just gonna be playing games and talking to whoever wants to come talk to me.
Ooh, so you're doing call-ins.
Call-ins. That's right.
You're orbiters.
my orbiters, exactly. Uh, man. Man, it's Easter afternoon. I feel a little bit sleepy. How about you? How are you feeling? Feeling good?
I'm feeling good. Did some FaceTime with the family.
Yeah.
Uh, talked to my nieces and nephews. After they had like their little Easter egg hunt. It's really cute. I do love this holiday.
Yeah. No,
It's good Christian holiday. Okay.
so I never understood the eggs has to do with like some kind of pagan the pagan shit, right?
Yeah, no, there's no way. There's somewhere in the Bible that's like, all right, and thou must find thy egg.
All right. Um
I do wonder what the history of that is. It's probably like chocolate companies, like
yeah, probably like Hallmark or whatever.
uh,
Doing the shit what they do with the Christmas.
like yeah, like apparently the reason why Santa Claus wears red is because of Coca Cola.
No way.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. A lot of people don't know that. He used to wear green.
I honestly had like never heard that story before. Never heard
Yeah, no, it's actually crazy how much like the like marketing has actually like invaded our culture. Like, it's kind of cool though. I dig it. Get some capitalism, get some Christianity, get
What
your Reese's peanut butter cups.
What are your thoughts generally on like um, capitalism influencing like national holidays? What are your opinions on that?
I mean, culture changes in all sorts of different ways. I do think there's something there's something very fun about uh,
Consuming?
like yeah, consuming. Like honestly, yeah, like there is something fun about like consuming things, and like I mean, who doesn't love that like moment when you're a kid and like you come downstairs and there's all these fucking Christmas presents for you, and like the, the reason why like there's so many Christmas presents because all these like companies are like buy your kids shit, buy some shit. Your kids want it. You're a bad parent if you don't buy some shit. Um, so like in some ways it's cool, in other ways it probably sucks. But like I don't know, culture is culture, right? Like its origins don't necessarily matter as long as it's like healthy, I suppose.
When you say like it's healthy, so I don't know. I'm of the belief that like some cultures are just straight up better than other cultures, and I know that's like cultural relativism is kind of the is sort of like a position of a lot of people. Um, like what do you mean when it's like doesn't hurt people or does hurt people? Like
So like obviously if we had like a culture where like we had to like chop the dicks off of like every other child, probably not the healthiest culture. like uh and you could argue that like for certain families Christmas might be an unhealthy thing, whereas like maybe they're buying their kids presents when they can't afford rent, like something like that. um I guess healthy is like when like active harm is being done, or like when like damage is being done like unnecessarily.
I do think that holidays are often a excuse to be financially irresponsible. And that's, when you said, not to be like a fucking, look, I understand, like, Christmas is awesome. I'm not like,
Hell yeah.
but
Hell yeah.
I know. I'm just saying, but like,
Face.
on the broader, like society level, it's probably not good that, like, people spend so much on, like, gifts during these holidays and spend so much, like, of their resources when, especially if they're not in a position to do so, and it's just sort of expected. Like, oh, like, God, I have to spend $500 this coming Christmas. Like, otherwise, I don't know.
No, I see where you're going with that, and like I definitely agree. Like that part of Christmas is probably unhealthy, um, and that's sort of where capitalism gets mixed in that. But I like there are other parts of I guess now I'm defending Christmas and not necessarily like how capitalism affects Christmas. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, in terms of that side of Christmas, sure it's kind of bad, but there's another side of Christmas that's like interesting where it's like, oh, be kind to thy fellow man. I guess that's the more Christian side of Christmas, not necessarily like the capitalist side of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have things like Christmas movies, which are almost its own genre of film, right? Like
I hate Christmas movies, and I hate Christmas songs, and that's
what?
the music is terrible, and it's overplayed.
It's overplayed. That's true.
It's horribly overplayed.
I don't know, like all I want for Christmas is you is like one of the like
I
the
hate
fucking
that
banger.
song. I hate that
That's
song.
so good.
It's not a banger. It's not a good song.
Oh,
It's
what about Feliz Navidad?
That's better. See, I mean, it's a good. I don't know. I kind of like that. Maybe I like that more because it's not like, oh wow, like I've heard this 35 times in a row.
What's
I-
your least favorite Christmas song?
All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Are you serious?
Yes, that is my
I,
absolute worst, my least favorite song of all time.
I hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah,
Wait, what? Like, what's wrong with it?
it's just awful. I don't know what to say. I don't even feel guilty like saying it's awful too. It's just it's overplayed. It's a very simple tune. Maybe like it's one of those songs where like, yeah, the first time around might be kind of interesting, but
Oof, oof, you're killing me here. I don't know. There's something like very upbeat about it. That was just like I was like, oh yeah,
I think that
Christmas. Yeah.
might be my problem. I generally don't like upbeat songs. Like
Fair enough.
I like them depressing and sort of like nihilistic.
This is a depressing and nihilistic Christmas song.
Yeah, those are my favorite kind of songs.
It is the time of the year in which most people commit suicide.
Is that actually true?
It's like I don't know if that's actually true, but I've heard that like rumor before. Let me see.
I mean, that would make sense because like basically whenever you introduce stress.
Yeah, and like nostalgia.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, this guy's
Oh,
losing a bunch of workers.
Okay, it's a myth. It's apparently a myth.
Well, that's good.
But it does. They do see a little bit of a bump, like after Christmas.
After Christmas.
they wait for like one more Christmas and then they're like, okay, time to go. Oh man. Okay. Here's a weird. Here's a capitalist holiday. The Super Bowl.
Yes, 100%.
That is a holiday, and that is purely capitalistic.
Happy Easter. God, should have brought out my little computer so I could. Although I'll be honest, like, yeah, I do like the Super Bowl too, and it absolutely is like it's one of those. But it's also like a holiday that is like relatively inexpensive,
Yes.
which is nice.
You go to someone's like Super Bowl party. Maybe you bring like a 6-pack of beer or like chips.
Yeah, that's not bad. So you are my resident expert on gender.
Yeah, let's do it.
Recently, Biden exclaimed that going forward, I believe this is the case. I don't know the full story, so if you know more about this, just stop me. But Biden said that any school that bans like trans people from competing in sports is going to lose funding. I think Title IX funding is what they said.
Title IX fund, like specifically funding for Title IX, or?
I don't fully know. I don't fully know the details of what you would lose, but you're losing something.
Yeah, that's not good. I get the like desire to push back on like bills that are basically targeting like one or two kids in like an entire county. Kind of weird. But like schools are already struggling. Like I don't understand how like withholding funding, which is essentially going to these kids, it's going to really do much.
Well, I don't think they're going to actually going to withhold. What's probably going to happen is like the schools are not going to surrender the funding. They're just going to be like, look, we need this funding. We're not going to ban trans athletes from participating. That's what it's going to be.
If that's the outcome, then like I guess that's kind of good, right? Like, but if they call the bluff, then that's kind of bad, right?
Are you in favor of the of allowing basically anybody to participate according to their gender identity? Because that's
I
kind of
mean,
like the big controversy right now. I know a lot of states are passing bans on that as we speak.
not in like competitive arenas. Like if it's like like recess, or if it's like gym sports, like who gives a fuck? But if it's like, oh, a scholarship depends on this, yeah, there's an issue there.
Well, scholarship, but the sports scholarships are usually dependent on you playing sports when you get to the college, right? And so now that's
Yeah,
going to be like a whole new level of participation. I mean, college sports is, high school, who whatever, high school sports, who gives a fuck, right? This shit doesn't really have the same money behind it as like college sports, right? Like March Madness is all college, right?
yeah,
And people
pretty much.
people care about fucking Like I like basketball. I watch NBA games, but I mean, people care about March Madness.
Like yeah, clearly there's a difference. Clearly there's a difference. I guess in terms of the trans sports debate, discourse, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know what we do with our trans brothers. All right, our trans men brothers.
Nobody cares about that question.
Nobody gives a fuck, and that's like the most important question.
No, it's not. I don't think it's the most important question because like, I mean, female to male. I mean, they're not really going to have an advantage in male sports. I guess unless they take the transitioning drugs.
No, but they're going to have an advantage in female sports.
Well, they're not going to be able to play female sports according to the bans, right? Wait. Well, hold on. Oh, you're talking. Well, no, they wouldn't have an advantage unless they were in female sports unless they were taking the drugs. Or if they were taking the drugs, then yeah. But then there's current rules against like those drugs anyway. And I'm guessing people would just, well, we have to have the same.
Or even in theory, right? Like a double mastectomy might like give some kind of advantage, or like change like weight classes. I don't know if there's any female sports that like have weight classes. I don't there are so many different like bodily changes that don't necessarily have to do with like drugs, that can like sort of take place, that like affect what's like how we quantify, how we sort of interact with these issues. Bono, what's your take on it? How do you feel?
I guess my take is I don't know why we have to have gender be a consideration with sports at all. I sort of take the edgy sort of like everybody should be able to go into any sport regardless of whatever. and then there's like an elo system. The only concern then you get with like, well, what about weight class? Like weight classes is like the one thing I can think of in like fighting sports where
Yeah, it's like it doesn't matter what your elo is. If the guy's 100 pounds over you, you're not gonna win that fight.
that's like the only thing I can think of though is weight classes in fighting sports. Is there any other sport that actually has like strict rules on who can participate based on like some kind of current biological?
So what
That's
here's where
probably
I
due to
feel like
safety issues, I'm guessing mostly.
Hmm. Well, like okay, let's say we do have like this elo system, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about football. Like, are there? Like, let's say there are some like female quarterbacks who are just like really fucking good. Do they have a bunch of male linebackers?
Sure. Yeah, whoever would like whoever has like the individual best stats. Like it's like fantasy football, but you can pick any you can pick any gender, right?
See, like when there's like these mixed positions, like linebacker, quarterback, running back,
Hmm.
that's when I feel like we should categorize in terms of gender. But when something like basketball, actually, it doesn't the NBA does allow for like women to play, just no one
Technically, yeah,
qualifies,
just
right?
none of them can, yeah.
um, so I could see how basketball could have like an elo system. That makes sense. Because like there aren't that like those like unique positions that require a very specific physique. But with football, right? Like that's different. Like they're like there's people of all different body shapes in a football team.
Right, but the thing is like they're going to naturally self-sort. So like they don't have any weight class limit on like the NFL, my understanding.
No, they don't.
Just like
Yeah.
the kind of people that are going to be good linebackers are going to be like, the 300-pound, like beefy
It's gonna be men.
boys. Yeah.
Like it's not gonna be women. Like they're actually they're probably like a handful of female linebackers that could do some pretty good shit.
There's
I
no
don't
way.
know. Like, I
There's
don't know.
there's no
Sometimes,
way. There's no
I don't
way
know.
that's
Sometimes
happening.
you get like a 7 foot broad.
7 foot. Even this like even then like I don't
Actually,
know.
7 feet would probably be bad. You want a lower center of gravity for
Yeah, the kind of people that are linebackers are like they're huge.
short.
Oh boy, they're huge, but they're not like I don't even know how I did that.
Do you
But
ever
they're
see
not.
like the wide Zelensky memes?
Well, I saw the wide Putin memes, but I never saw the wide Zelensky memes.
I think they were a spin-off after that. But yeah, like that's the kind of body shape you want. Just a giant, just a freaking brick. Um, but okay, as your resident expert on trans issues, which I do appreciate. Um, how have you been? You've had a couple of masculinity, femininity debates, like over about a month ago, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious. Like, have you sort of gotten like a sense of like how to define masculinity?
Yeah, I think so. I think I have the best definition, honestly.
Okay.
So so unfortunately, I'm not very good at like summarizing things in a sentence. So here's my conception, I guess, of what masculinity is versus femininity. So I think there's natural biological differences that exist between females and males. I think that's just reality. And then there's like cultural dynamics that develop because like basically that work within these biological differences. So right, like you're gonna there's gonna be oh shit. One second. I'm losing. God, how did he get so? I killed his economy. How is he so strong?
You playing StarCraft?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Damn. Now he didn't go. Ultralists generally aren't the best against Thors, so he didn't do the right. He didn't use the right.
Play Terran?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Listen, here's what you need to do. You just need to build 5 more barracks, build 5 more mules, and then just spam Marines. That's all you really need to do as
Oh
Terran.
yeah, no, mules are super cheap. I think I win though, because he's building Zerglings, and oh boy, that's not good. Which means that normally they're building panic Zerglings, means they don't have any gas.
Yeah, that is what that
How the
means.
fuck? So there's like cultural. So I guess one example I can think of is like, well, one of the reasons why like males are considered to be like the dominant sort of role is because just there is like a biological strength difference between males and females, and that's going to like throughout history naturally accredit certain roles
Yeah, warrior
within
roles,
yeah with
soldiers.
stuff like that. And then
Um,
the other element of this is I think and this is the biggest thing that I think attributes different like cultural standards is reproductive roles. So the fact that women are the ones that give birth. Nice. Women's are the ones that give birth, and men don't. So I think what this leads to is not only in history was really the only way of feeding children breastfeeding, but you have a situation where a woman gives birth, and then for several months afterwards, probably, or sometimes, or maybe a couple weeks, or some period of time afterwards, you know, she
yeah,
has to rest. She has to take it easy. She can't go out and be doing like hard, manual labor and digging ditches and building buildings and shit because I mean she just passed like a fucking 8 pound creature sometimes 7 pound creature through
yeah,
herself. That's an incredible undertaking, right? That's incredibly difficult to do, and if normally when you pass something that big it kills you, and there is a significant chance of you dying and women dying when they do this because of how first of all, how large how large the creature is, the person, and how much damage that can be done,
yeah.
and
A
so
ton of different like factors.
yeah,
That's all.
bleeding, all that, and there's different.
Come out sideways, like
Yeah, someone in the chat just pointed out there's also just like this different body structure built to like accommodate that whole
wider hips.
process, wider hips. Um, yeah, so you got this incredible undertaking. So they give birth. They can't really do a lot of physical labor for the time being, and they have to like breastfeed their kid. This, I think, this is like the basis for almost all gender roles, because now we have a situation that for a while after giving birth, the woman can't work, or at least can't work outside of the house. So what does this mean? She stays in the house, and she works,
Raise-
raises kids inside the house by,
The only
you know,
one who could breastfeed.
yeah,
Yeah,
she's the only one that can breastfeed. The World Health Organization and the CDC are still recommend nothing but breastfeeding for the first 6 months, um, and really up to 2 years. You can, I think you're supposed to be breastfeeding. Now you mix in food, as you go forward, but that's a significant amount of time in which you're at home breastfeeding, interacting with the child, raising the child. You can't really go out and do physical labor for the first period of time. So
yeah.
what
And
is
these, sorry,
right? Well, I just want to say, and like with this, what does this mean, right? Well, what it means is that
these inform the social customs.
these inform the social customs of, well, who's going to go out and basically put meat on the table during this time period in which she and the child are vulnerable. Well, there's only one other person, and that's the man, right? Um, so I think, and then this informs the sort of cultural context of men need to like have their finances in order and need to have their career in order. They need to be able to go out and work, like encouraging that kind of hardworking sort of career orientation is more important in men than women. That's like been the historical standard. I think a lot of that is informed by biology. Um, and because it's informed by biology, and because breastfeeding is so important for children, and that a really early period with their mother is so important for children, I don't necessarily think that's a terrible thing. If it means that children get their mothers at home with them longer periods of time and get to and are breastfed, um, because the mother and the child have a man who can support them, right? Who's actually been, getting their shit together, getting their bag. As I'm not a fucking zoomie. I don't whatever the fucking whatever the fucking. All right, look, I'm old. Whatever the kids these days are saying, right? Uh,
You're hitting the Benjamin, okay?
yeah, hitting the Benjamins. Yeah. Getting the dollars. That makes sense to me. It just seems to fit. So yeah, and so because this natural like gender, I guess, dynamic exists, um, we can basically start drawing like connections of like, oh, this main reason is why this exists, and then the emphasis on career and the emphasis on like the sort of independence, the ability to provide for somebody when they're vulnerable, that being able to go out and be assertive, like those sort of kind of things start bleeding into like other cultural areas like careers, working, man culture, shit like that. But then I think that also bleeds into sports, where you have those kind of the natural competitiveness expressed and the natural independence expressed. But then you also just have flat out just like a huge difference in biological biological capability on top of all of that. So I think you have the reason why it's so interesting is you have a lot of people who argue against the cultural standards, which I get it, right? You can always argue against cultural standards even if they're biologically informed. But even if you got rid of all these cultural standards tomorrow, that doesn't change the fact that in the arena of sports it's going to be just inarguable, right?
Yeah, like the biological realities are gonna swoop in regardless of the cultural I guess erasure.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like I don't fully disagree. I think there's definitely like biological components that are sort of used as like the bedrock to establish those like cultural norms. But so surely you're familiar with the fact that like other cultures, like what might be masculine in one culture might be feminine in another culture.
There's like, sometimes there's peripherals. So the sort of like the general foundation that I gave you, I think is the same in nearly every culture for a very obvious reason, right? You see this regardless of where you go.
And yeah, in terms of like raising kids, that seems to be ubiquitous.
Yes, not only in all human cultures, but also in all mammals, generally speaking. Like this is just like an animal reality. But like when you're talking about like dresses and stuff and makeup and I mean now we have like a different
aesthetics. Kind of... Yeah, aesthetics are definitely different. But also like okay, here's like a weird one. So like apparently part of the like marriage customs of ancient Spartans was to like shave their bride.
Sparta was weird.
Sparta was weird, but it was masculine, right? Like it's definitely not a feminine culture.
It wasn't, but it was. So Sparta was like informed very much just by the way, like how warlike that culture was.
Yeah.
And that's like basically it's an anomaly where, and you still had like women being at home taking care of the kids, like that was still
sure, but you also had a society in which like women were the richest group of people in the world.
Yep. And the reason for that though was that
their husbands died.
Well, their husbands were always off into war, right? There was always out fighting. Because and this is not really talked about, in the 300 and like all the stuff glamorizing Sparta, but they were a slaving society.
Yeah, but it's not just that like their husbands went to war, right? Like there were other societies where like the wife's husband would go to war and then she wouldn't get shit. Like it was the fact that like Spartan society like said, okay, actually we are going to treat our women differently than other societies. We're going to say that they do have some responsibility financially.
It was out of necessity though, right? Because so how Spartan society worked is you had Sparta, and then pretty close by you had and surrounding.
Necessity is a weird word.
No, but it's necessity. But this is like the context for why it's a necessity. So there was a group of people called the Helots, and Helots in Greek is a very direct translation, which means quite literally the people who we take from.
Yeah.
That's what Helots mean. And so in Sparta, they had these slaves that they didn't own them like chattel slavery, but like they basically kept them around and like took food and grain from them every so often. And I think I fucked this up pretty bad. And every once in a while, the Helots would be like, oh, we don't want to be having our shit took all the time because it sucks. So they would revolt, and the Spartans would go down and kick their ass because all the Spartans did all day was practice combat. So they were
Mm.
the best of the best. And then the Helots would get in line, continue to give grain, and continue to be oppressed by the Spartans, and then every once in a while would rise up again. So Spartans were in constant combat with other people. And then on top of that, there was multiple wars that happened with like other city-states, that happened with foreign invaders. They were just like always in battle. And when you have a society that's always in battle, where the men are always off in battle because the physical difference is there, who is going to manage the finances? Who is going to manage like the house? It has to be the women, right? That's the only group left. So like the warlike function of that society shaped its gender dynamics. Because just the biology ultimately what it came down to again is the biology, the fact that the males are stronger, they were always off fighting the wars.
I think that's part of it, but Spartans also had like this sense of like superiority.
Oh, for
That
sure.
like our women are better than your women. like
Yeah,
to the point
probably.
where like our women can handle finances. Um, and I feel like that's not necessarily just because you have other societies where people go to war and then like the state just collects their wealth, right? Like Rome did that all the time.
Right, but they could, I mean, Rome is an interesting example, but again, like, yeah, Spartans had this belief of, well, our women are capable, our women can do this, because often they could, but the reason they could is because they had a lot of practice, because that's all they did,
They
right?
had a masculine culture
Right, and the reason that's all they did was
in
because,
a hard environment. Like I'm not saying masculine culture is better. I'm just saying like in this particular environment, masculine culture was better.
well, for what their society was, it was working for them, right? And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
um, and that's the critical element here, where again, like one of the things we see is this shit isn't the dynamics that came up here aren't just some shit that like people thought up of one day of like, oh, how do we oppress somebody? That wasn't the thought, right? The thought was all of these dynamics, in my opinion, are
Well, the
biologically
thought was
informed.
how do we get their stuff? Like,
Well, for the Helots, 100%, but not for like the not for the women.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, like the thought there was more like, what does it mean to be a Spartan?
Hmm.
And like they had like an interest I think one of the cool things about masculinity
Damn, I just can't breathe.
um, is this idea that like you can sort of look someone in the eye and then trust them with like a certain amount of responsibility. Whereas I feel like a feminine way of engaging with this is sort of like removing responsibility, being like, no, it's not your fault. Oh, it's okay. Like, whereas in like a masculine side, it's more like like, stand the fuck up, like rub some dirt on it.
Hmm.
Come on, like you have a job to do. Go do it.
Sure.
And giving that to women in their society, uh, I think that's
Well, so
I think
they
that's
had to they had to because the men were always off in war, and in addition to that, not only were the men always off in war, but because of that, there was this other cultural development that happened in Sparta, which was this thought process that um, homosexual relationships were widely encouraged because the thought process was if you're going to fight harder for your lover than you are just for some random guy.
yeah,
And
sure.
right, and so like when the men were all off in the barracks doing that, what started to happen was a fertility issue where you literally had like not enough Spartans. And that was one of the
Well,
reasons for their downfall, by the way. They literally kind of like bred
yeah,
themselves out of or didn't breed, I guess, out of existence.
they they were like I remember seeing this one video about saying like they were so conservative that like when Rome came to like conquer them, they were still like in like the 300 BCs or something like that. Like they were so conservative with their culture, like they were so unwilling to change or adapt.
They were also unwilling to change their style of warfare.
Yeah, they were like, "We did it, boys. We're done. It doesn't get any better than this."
Right. So while
Then America can block the gun.
Romans like mastered the gladius, and which was more effective than the traditional block formations that the or the
But yeah,
phalanx formations that the Spartans were using.
well, I really wanted to like hone in on like what it means to be masculine, and what you've sort of suggested so far is that like, well, like there are these like social customs that we refer to as masculine, but like the reason why we refer to them as masculine is because they're biologically informed.
Yeah.
By
necessity.
Like the sex dynamics.
Yes.
I don't fully buy that. Like okay, so for example, when Spartan women got married, that's true. Like a lot of these Spartan dudes would like fuck each other. So when it came time to like consummate the marriage, what they would do is they'd shave the head of like their bride to make them look like a boy.
It was also not very consensual process, by the way.
Not very consensual. No.
They would just like grab the women, and yeah, it wasn't very good.
Well, no. There were like fathers being like, okay, you can get married to this person.
No, so my understanding, I mean, I don't know if maybe it's like some other like person consented, but my understanding of Spartan culture was like when you selected a wife, it was like a very violent sort of "you are mine now" process, and that was just how culturally it was. Like they absolutely had like a rape culture.
That could be the case for like lower and middle class, but I think like for the higher ups,
probably, yeah,
they were still like, no, you're not stealing my fucking property.
Right. Well, yeah, but that's the case in nearly every society for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Like but like see like this is like how is shaving a woman's head to be man like how is that biologically informed? Maybe because like these dudes are constantly fucking other dudes, so
yeah.
It like changed sexuality.
Yep, I think again like there's going to be a couple lines back that you have to trace this, but like you have a warlike culture that's like everything is informed by war, and because of biological differences, men are going to be the ones that are involved in the war, in the fighting primarily.
But would you say this this like shaving of the head is that a masculine thing?
In that cultural context, it was, and that cultural context was informed by the biological differences between men and women.
Well, no. In that cultural context, that was a feminine thing because that was done to women.
So hold on, the shaving of somebody's head, I would think is like masculine because of that culture, but like getting your head shaved, I would.
Well, no. I think getting your head shaved is kind of masculine. I would agree with that. But like in the cultural context, this was only for like women to do.
No. What I'm saying is like.
I mean, not getting your head shaved, like getting married and then getting your head shaved to get fucked.
I wouldn't consider that masculine. I think like somebody else like coming and like shaving your head and like dictating that to you, it was like absolutely like I mean that was like a feminine characteristic of that time.
Of that culture.
Yeah.
But I would like I guess relative to like American culture, I would be like that's strangely masculine. Like you're evoking the image of a man out of this woman in order to fuck them.
Oh boy. Man, none of these old Heart of the Swarm builds really work in Legacy of the Void.
Huh? No, they do not. Dude, have you run into Cyclopses or Cyclones or whatever?
No, I'm just fighting a Zerg right now. But if I can get this, oh wow, out of pylons.
But do you really think there's nothing outside of like the social or the biological that like masculinity and femininity can exist in?
out of the social or biological? I mean, what other
Yeah.
realms are there?
The spiritual.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Or I guess the metaphysical.
No. Damn, platinum.
No?
I'll get to diamond, no problem. No, I don't think so. I think that you have cultural contexts that are completely informed by a number of things, including, yeah, I think the biggest factor is going to be biology with all of these, because you see, these kind of dynamics exist in every culture, including our culture, every other human culture, every animal society. Just that's how necessity defines these things. Not even necessity, but like optimization defines these things. And then could there be circumstances in which like something is suboptimal because some battle happened somewhere in which this culture, well, this is important for me or us because of blah blah blah. That could happen, but it's not like the norm. This is so embarrassing. This fucking Platinum League is so embarrassing. We gotta fix this right now.
Okay, let's say you have a man in America, and
a boy or a man?
A man.
All right,
okay?
All right. Grizzly fucking.
He him pronouns. Man. But
Yep, gotcha.
Like there's something about him. It's not like he doesn't like wear a dress. He doesn't actually participate in like feminine social customs.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about him that's just a little sensitive, a little soft.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he has like a little bit of a lispy voice. Like,
are you talking about somebody you know, or?
No. I'm trying to give like an example of like someone who identifies as a man, participates in masculine social customs,
yeah,
but isn't
very manly.
Like a feminine man,
sure,
you might say.
Sure.
Well, where does that femininity come from? Is it still biological and social?
Well, hold on. The cultural sort of context, or the prescription of like this person should be more manly, right? That comes from a cultural context that is biologically informed. What he is could be a number of things, right? Like it could have been, I don't know, like born that way, low T. Who fucking knows, dude? There's all sorts of reasons why people don't behave.
All sorts of different reasons. But like the point is
describing me, by the way. No, seriously, I'm not kidding.
No.
Fair enough.
The point I'm trying to get at, though,
you're a very masculine person, Lawson. You do blue collar work.
You know how to live.
I do masculine things, but like my temperament and my attitude is not masculine.
You do have a softer temperament than I think most DGGers. That's true.
Wait, okay.
I've noticed you keep your cool more often than not.
I think this is actually like
that's a manly thing.
This is a perversion. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like this is a perversion of like of sort of like what the new masculinity means, where like there's like a kind of a new age of, masculinity is, being a aggressive asshole, or like, having sex with like a bunch of women and getting them all pregnant, blah blah blah. Like that's just, I think that's sort of like a bastardization of like the processes that are.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, I fucked up again.
To that point, real quick, there was like a South Park episode that came out recently, where I think Stan and Token are just trying to play Warhammer 40K, and their dad Randy is like trying to get them to go out and like party and fuck chicks. And like I think they have like Andrew Tate. They have like an Andrew Tate knockoff. Like try to like persuade Randy to be more like a man. And like meanwhile, like these kids just want to play Warhammer.
Right.
I feel like there's two different kinds of like masculinity. There's like the one that's like that's like sort of like biologically informed, like like get bitches, get lots of resources, be jacked so you can beat the shit out of anybody. Mm-hmm. There's that side of masculinity. And then there's like things like board games and like friendly competition and like action movies, like, you know what I mean? Like there's more of that, like there's like this other side of masculinity that's like platonic.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong.
Almost.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like, my biggest gripe with like the modern conception of masculinity is it's completely like rejects the kind of thing that these cultural contexts were created to to optimize in the first place, right? The point of masculinity is to optimize fatherhood in order to put somebody as like in a good position to be a father, right? You want to have your finances in order, you want to be able to be independent, you want to be able to be like a protector, you want to be able to be all these things because there will be people who will rely on you and are vulnerable.
And not just your children. Like you could be like the head of a state in a way, and you need to be like a father to that state.
So potentially, I'm talking like, but in like the parental context, right? In the familial context, we're talking about like your wife and children, right?
Mm.
And so
I was kind of trying to get into like the archetypical context.
With the arc, what do you mean?
Like Alexander the Great, you could say he's like the father of, what was that Greek state.
Macedonia.
Macedonia.
Yeah. You got it.
Like, or there's this other person in Turkey, who like they actively call like their father or like the father of their country. I don't know his name.
Yeah. So,
like,
hold
heads
on.
of state would be that like father figure.
The reason
by embodying those masculine virtues.
The reason why people view it that way is because, like, even the words we use to like define, like the kind of the protector or the the provider, the leader, right? These things are informed by like the familial context of, which is again is informed by like base level biology. So, like when you start getting fucked up, right? What I think when the plot begins to get lost is when people like this sort of like what I would call toxic masculinity of this sort of like, well, we're gonna like, what makes a man? Well, it means fucking bitches getting money, right? That shit. It's like, no, like well,
sometimes
getting money, sure, but like in the context of like, what's the purpose of getting the money? Is it just to like, sleep with a bunch of people at the club, or is it to like be able to be a like an effective provider?
It's to wave your big dick around.
Exactly, right? And that's like the problem. And that's like why I think like those that's like what informs the Andrew Tate kind of perspective of what the purpose of masculinity is, that I don't agree with. I actually think Jordan Peterson was way better, honestly.
Yeah, like Jordan Peterson was advocating for more of that like Warhammer style of masculinity, where it's like clean your room, like, don't be a dick, like make some friends, like.
Or be prepared to be competent, right? That's what Jordan Peterson's whole shtick was, because the idea was if you're competent and people can rely on you and people can depend on you, then like you're going to be a good family member and you're going to be like a strong person. And when the people in your life are most vulnerable, you're going to be able to provide, like, to help them. You're going to be able to make sure that they're good, which in a societal context is critical, right? There's a reason why, like, consistently, like a two-parent household is one of the best things you can do for your family, right? And so, but then we have like this sort of like new definition here, and this is what I think is like the real crisis of masculinity, right? Where people are just like not, where people just are not getting like why these things are implemented in the first place. Why is it the standard? Well, it's not just so you can like fuck off and go to the club and flex. It's for a reason, right?
There's definitely reasons.
Good reasons. There's good reasons.
Yeah, like I agree with your main point being like there needs to be more purpose in this. There needs to be more to masculinity than just raising your pussy points.
Exactly. Yeah. And absolutely, there needs to be like a pro-social element here.
Well, what do you think governs that like social element? Because for me, how I sort of see it is like it's sort of about being kind of like stable and affectable, like kind of like a a rock for someone to lean on.
Yes.
Whereas I feel like feminine things or feminine like qualities in this manner are more effectual. They're more things like empathy, evoking emotions, getting people to like process their feelings.
Sure. And we see, there's hormonal effects, by the way. Like, this is all science, like, there are hormonal effects on the brain, and like testosterone has specific effects.
I know.
Testosterone has like a specific effect on the brain. Estrogen does as well, and these also like are biological realities that play into the cultural context of why, by and large, men and women pick different things and have different roles within society. So I'm actually sort of getting along the train of, I'm fine with like trans people if they want to express themselves in whatever way, but like by and large, gender roles are probably not something we should get rid of. They're probably like this gender abolition stuff. It's probably not a good thing.
Like the gender abolitionist stuff is so cringe.
I don't think we can get rid of that.
No, you can.
I think
you'd have to
forced
like
gender
1984
roles.
it. You'd have to like 1984 it.
I think forced gender roles is something we should get rid of. Like, I don't want teachers to tell all the girls to like forget about physics and learn to cook or whatever.
Yeah,
I think everybody agrees on that.
Forcing gender roles or forcing non-gender roles is just kind of bad in general. Like, gender roles are best when they naturally form.
I think if we were to like go down the road and all of society were to accept that like there's no gender, it's all fluid, we would just invent a new word to describe like the temperament of men and women.
Yeah, you're aggro. You're sissy. Like, I don't think I can say that. Oh shit.
Can that banned?
I think it is. Like, I think it's banned in certain contexts.
I mean, this seems to be a pretty reasonable conversation.
Seems to be rude.
Damn, did they nerf carriers recently? Or these just used to be like ridiculously powerful?
I think they did.
I mean, they should have. If they didn't, I mean, they were pretty.
How long has it been since you played?
It hasn't been that long, but
I think it's been like 5 years for me since I played. I still play. I play a co-op mission every now and then. Those are fun.
Yeah, I'll play co-op.
Damn.
Okay. All right. So I hit you up a while back about like a masculine version of crying. I think I can give you an example that I think I can get you to agree with is like a masculine idea of crying.
Go ahead.
Sorry, no, I don't know if I don't want to distract you. If you're focused, you're honing in.
I'm gonna fucking lose, dude. Crazy, man. Fucking carriers don't even win anymore. I'm gonna have to totally. I'm losing this fucking. I got GG. Always forget that.
Apparently, rushing battle cruisers is a strategy.
Is that shit they're doing like now in top leagues?
Yeah, because you take out a battle cruiser, you walk it over to the person's base, and then you just teleport it out of there and like repair it.
Yeah. I mean, they were doing that shit back since basically they came out with the jump. I was playing a lot when that was the case. But
okay,
I just gotta play better. It's probably the problem.
All right, so masculine crying.
Crying.
I think here's the conditions of masculine crying. 1, you're crying in spite of some sort of hormonal or social pressure not to. And 2, you're crying in a way that is affecting the least amount of people. Like, for example, there's this famous episode of All in the Family where Archie Bunker's wife dies. And he's talking to everybody throughout the entire episode. Everyone's like, "Are you okay? Like, I'm so sorry." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Like, yeah, thank you. Appreciate your condolences." And not until the very end of the episode, when he's like alone in his room, that he finally just starts like crying.
Right.
Because you should cry when your wife dies. You should cry. But should you cry in front of like your daughter? Probably not, right? Like your daughter needs like someone to be there for them too.
I think this is the same prescription though, because like my understanding is the prescription has never been like you can't ever cry. It's you shouldn't when when other people are depending on you to sort of be like
Yes.
like a strength, like some you shouldn't like let them down. That's my understanding of the like kind of the unspoken rule.
Yeah.
And so
But also, if you're not crying because like you think you're gonna be perceived as like a little bitch, like that's kind of a little bitch move.
I don't know because like everyone tries to fit within like the cultural constructs that they're given to some extent. I think there's a lot of people who say like, and this is something I've noticed too. Not really from, I don't know. So a lot of people, a lot of women specifically, will say like, oh, like men should be better at crying, right?
Oh, if only they knew.
But then like when men do cry, it's very awkward.
It's very seen as very weird.
Yeah, it seems like people are like, oh, like they don't know what to do.
Yeah, this is as far away from like the masculine archetype that I have in my head
Right.
as it can be.
And I think it's the same thing like when men are like, oh, like I love it when women like do this masculine thing. But then like when it actually comes time to do that, like it's not this like it's not the same, right?
Yeah, it's not perceived.
Easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
And I think that like really emphasizes like how deep a lot of these like cultural constructions go, where you can lie to yourself and say that they don't affect your thought process.
Yeah, that's just how deep in it you are.
when they do. Another example of like something that's like I think really like deep in our psyche that we can't really like come up with a good reason why we do this, but we just do it sort of like in a like a robot like fashion is like dating based on like attractiveness. Like what
yeah.
It's such like it's so weird, right? It's so weird that we would like deny like somebody who could be like perfectly nice and kind and good for us, but like we just reject them because we look at them and brain say no. Why does brain say no? I don't know. It just does, and so I don't want to date them anymore. It's like.
So what I've noticed with like masculine and feminine sexuality is that like masculine sexuality is very object oriented. Like it's like boobs, like oh butt, oh pretty face, like
we're definitely more lizard brained, unfortunately.
I don't know if it's necessarily
a lot of it is lizard brain, dude. Like a lot of men.
There's a lot of it.
There are men who will like date the worst women for them, just like the women who will burn their fucking clothes, who will key their car.
Yeah, I've known men who have like had to like call the cops on their partners.
Sure.
Like hitting him.
Right. And they'll date them, and yeah, like women will like stay with abusive people too for different reasons of like a sense of like obligation, a sense of like loyalty, a sense of like or just straight up being threatened, right? There's all sorts of reasons. But like the only time I've ever heard this statement was from a man. A man will be like, "Yeah, she's pretty awful, but like look how attractive she is." Like, "Oh, I'm so she's so hot though." Like that is a very male-brained statement to make, and honestly,
so I agree that is a male brain statement.
Yeah, it's not good.
I have known girls who are very like masculinely sexual. Like
masculinely sexual. What does that
yes. Mean? Like I knew a girl who
I know exactly
who fucked around as if she was like a playboy. Like and who would say stuff like oh my god, like he's so fucking dumb, but like I don't know, he's cute. like she would like the way she would engage with sex was as if she was just like a dude in a woman's body.
I've never heard this. So that specific statement of like, yeah, like he's so dumb, but like, I mean, I guess
they're out there.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're probably out there. Yeah.
Like there's definitely there's a whole spectrum of women out there, but like I think there are some women out there who have a bit more masculine, who have a bit more of a masculine sexuality. I think there are a lot of men who have a feminine sexuality. I know you don't approve of this, but like I love eating pussy. Like,
Oh my
I
god.
love giving head. Listen, some guys just want to have their face sat on.
It's so
I just wanna
gross.
go.
Stop. This is disgusting. Ugh. I never understood it.
Some guys just want to be the bottom. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. But with feminine sexuality though, it has a lot more to do with like dynamics. There's a lot more to do with like, how does this person make me feel? Like, oh, how is this person responding to this? Like,
Did this motherfucker just drop in queens?
yes, that's
What the
new.
fuck is this?
JK, that's not a strat. That's him trolling.
This must be like a rush, right? If I win this, why do I have no warp? Oh, I didn't build
Playing
it.
Protoss now?
I'm trying.
You can't just switch.
Yeah,
You're
I
playing
can.
Terran.
I used to be masters in all 4 races. Protoss, Terran, Zerg, and Random.
How progressive of you.
Yeah. Diversity is our greatest strength.
Listen, jack of all trades, master of none.
Now, it looks like I just killed the rush. So now I just need to basically... God damn it. I need to redo... I'm guessing this must end at some point.
In terms of women talking about how men need to cry more, I actually think men just have a like hormonally like just a harder time being able to cry in the first place.
There is that too. And again, that's like another thing about testosterone, right? It definitely has like psychological impacts. And the thing is like we all accept this sometimes, like hormones having an effect on the brain. But then like the very reasonable follow-up statement, oh, so like men and women tend to think differently about things, right? If we know hormones have an effect on the brain, we know that like if we give a guy a bunch of estrogen, he's going just to like approach situations differently and think about things differently and react differently. Yeah, but then like all of a sudden like okay, so we know that and we know that like people have different hormones, so then it reminds me of like that SpongeBob meme, right? Where it's like, so you agree these hormones make you think differently? Yes, of course. And we know that like men and women have different levels of hormones generally. Yes, of course. So men and women think differently. No, we're exactly the same. It's like what are you talking about?
No, we're exactly the
It
same.
doesn't make any sense. Like I thought we just established something, but
I mean, you are obviously not the same in every arena, but there is like a sort of cosmic arena in which we're all existentially the same. You know, we're all gonna die. We're all just sort of fragile creatures on this spinning rock.
yeah, but we don't have to like become super nihilistic about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think once you just realize where you are, then you can be optimistic about it. But okay. I remember when I took estrogen.
That's right. Oh yeah, that was a weird story.
That was a fun time.
Yeah.
I felt pretty euphoric. I like enjoyed the experience. What I noticed is that like, not people always say like, oh, you're gonna be more emotional. You're not more emotional. I still had all this. It's not like new feelings are popping up in my head. It was really more or less like, hey, do you feel like crying right now? I was like, yeah, I do feel like crying. Okay, you can cry. I was like, oh, I can cry. Like it was weird. Like I remember there were times like before I went on it, like I was actively like really fucking sad about something, and I was trying my like hardest to like just cry because I felt like crying. I felt like I wanted to cry, and I couldn't. Like I would just be like making noises. It was like so pathetic. Like, but like I couldn't actually get there. And it kind of looked like I was like fake crying, but like I wasn't. Like I really was trying. Just like my literal like hormonal chemistry was like preventing me from doing so. Whereas like when I was on estrogen, I was one day just listening to like a random Paramore song, and then I just started crying out of nowhere, and I'm like, what the fuck?
God damn. Paramore. I've heard of that band, but I can't think of any fucking songs they play.
Misery
Who are
Business.
These people
Ain't It
must be
Fun.
Diamond, right? These people must be Diamond. There's no way. Yeah, Diamonds. Okay, at least I'm losing against Diamonds.
You're in Diamond right now?
I'm fighting. I'm like, they put me in Platinum, but I'm playing against Diamonds. And it's very. I keep losing, man.
Giving you too much responsibility.
I'm just ass. Just fucking ass player right now. Playing like ass. I used to be so good, dude. You wouldn't even believe it. Oh, I've always hated mirror matchups, though.
I only ever got up to like Diamond in single player. Actually, I don't know if I ever made it to Diamond. I think I actually only made it to Platinum. But in 2v2s, I was like Masters, with me and my like buddy. But 2v2 is like so much easier.
2v2 is kind of fun. It's definitely
fun.
like it's not even the same game, really.
It's not. It's not.
Okay, here we go.
The dynamic is so different. And also, you can cheese so much better when you have like access to multiple units or from like different factions.
Yeah, everyone just fucking rushes. And like, and then in like 4 versus 4, you have to rush basically.
When
yeah.
when SC2 first came out, if you were playing twos, if one of you quit like within the first second of the game, the other one got your resources. So me and my buddy, we made it to like Masters because I would be Zerg and he would be whoever, and he would quit, and I would put a spawning pool down in like 20 seconds, and the other players would get so mad because eventually people knew the trick, and we'd start a game and he'd quit, and one of the players would be like, "You fucking bitch," blah 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 blah. It was pretty fun. But then later, I think they changed it to like you don't get the minerals until like 60 seconds after or something.
I feel like on some maps though, like if you walled off, like you would just be fucked. You'd be down one person.
They can't wall off that quick. There's just no way.
Even with just supply
There
depots, I feel like
wasn't-
you can wall off.
It's immediate
No,
spawning pool.
no.
Immediate spawning pool.
Yeah.
Really?
Like
Like I would have 6 lings going to their base.
and also the
like
2v2 maps
for a minute.
they have like 3 or 4 entrances.
Yeah, the old ones had like a lot of entrances. That's true. I made maps for a while. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like on a StarCraft team and everything.
What?
wasn't like on a StarCraft team. What's up, Absolute Zero?
Nothing. Just being chilling, you know. I just want to shout out to Judas for the long weekend, you know. Just gotta get the feelers out there.
None of that heresy shit in here.
You got a new job yet, Absolute, or are you still bumming it?
Wait, you're on
Still
stream.
loving it.
You're on stream.
Yeah, just so you guys know, you're on stream.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. I got a band from unemployment, so let's go.
Go!
Jesus Christ.
So I, like, the
Dude,
unemployed
the
life.
government's paying for my pot, dude. Let's fucking Uncle Sam. I got Papa Bless.
That's America's spot. Okay.
Ooh, I gotta go. They're making fun of me now at Christmas.
Christmas.
What the fuck?
Like every time you guys, you
Dude,
fucking,
so stoned he forgot what holiday it is.
every time you degenerates argue in favor of welfare, just remember that statement that was just said. The government's paying for my pot.
It's their money. It's their money.
It's it's there. No,
They
that
want-
shit's my money. That's my money. God damn it. I'm
Okay.
just fucking so
There's
bored
this-
today.
There's this one time I was on the subway, and like these 2 fucking dudes, they like sit across from me, and like they're looking so sketchy, and like they're bantering with each other, and then like a homeless man comes in, and he's asking for money, and I only have like 10 on me, so I'm like, fuck it, like like whatever, like this dude doesn't have any fucking shoes, like here you go.
Gave him a
and he-
10? Jesus.
I gave him a 10. It was so bad. And like one of the dudes sitting across from me was like, "Dude, you gave him a 10?" I was like, "Yeah, man." And his buddy was like, "No, he's one of the good ones." And I'm like what? And like his buddy was like, "He's gonna spend drugs on that. He's gonna spend that on drugs." And I'm like, "Hey, like it's his money." And his buddy was like, "Yeah, see, he's one of the good ones." And then they stole someone else's backpack.
What?
Like, I think they were gonna I think they were gonna rob me. I think they were gonna actually like snatch my backpack and run out of the subway. But they did that to someone else because they saw me give $10 to a homeless man.
One of the Jesus Christ, dude.
He's
The mentality of some of these fucking people is just ridiculous.
I was like, okay, I don't know. Sometimes good karma happens in weird ways.
I'm more concerned that somebody like stole a backpack. What the fuck?
It was pretty sketchy. But like, I swear to God, they were like testing me. They were like testing me to be like,
Yeah, paying it forward. Yeah.
That's
So dumb.
Did you see the Twitter Files guy talk to Mehdi Hassan?
No. Twitter Files guy, who is that? I've heard about the Twitter Files. I
Matt
just didn't care about who
Taibbi?
fucking
I think it's
leaked
Matt
it.
Taibbi. I might be wrong. But
Oh yeah, I saw a clip of that.
dude, that was fucking brutal.
Was it good or?
I used to like Matt Taibbi a lot.
No, I mean it was good for Mehdi Hassan.
Who? Mehdi Hassan? I don't know who that is.
He's a MSNBC guy.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
You've seen him before. Yeah.
Why was it good for him? What happened?
Oh, dude, he just like obliterated him on live television. I think Destiny like kind of had it right. Like it sort of seems like your average video, like your average YouTube video SAS just went on MSNBC with like no media training whatsoever, and then just got like their shit kicked in. Like I was looking at this and I was like, I always thought like, oh yeah, I could probably go on like MSNBC and like I don't know, like shit down someone's throat. But like now that I like this Matt Taibbi guy, he was using like
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
internet tactics.
Yeah, I think I know
Like
who
he
you're
was
talking
using
about.
like internet debate tactics on MSNBC, and it doesn't work. It's not the right medium for that kind of like talk. He looked like such a douchebag.
I think that Hassan. I think I've seen him in a debate. I forget who it was with, but he actually, I thought, lost pretty hard. He comes across a little bit like a slimy debater.
He was super slimy in this interview. Like he was super slimy. But like,
he
dude, being
won.
slimy is like how you win these fucking like news debates.
Yeah.
These like cable television debates. Like holy shit.
Yeah. 100%. I can see that.
He was like constantly like sliding in these like little snide comments,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
while speed rolling like these questions. It was fucking crazy.
No.
Steamrolling these questions.
He
Not
wrote
speed.
he wrote a book, I'm pretty sure, in which like he just like tries to teach people how to like argue in the way he does. If I'm
Dude, it was-
if I'm thinking about the right person, I think I am.
I think you could go toe to toe with practically anyone. I don't know if you'd win necessarily, but I can see you going toe to toe with practically anyone in like an online debate. But my God, Lactoid, don't ever go on MSNBC.
No, if I'm familiar with this guy, like I would, you would just have to prepare. Like you couldn't just
Yes.
like fucking wing it, like some people try to do.
Yeah. But like, oh my God! But also like, dude, like some of the facts that were being spewed out by the Twitter files were just blatantly wrong. Like he said, apparently there's one thing where like they said in the Twitter files like 22 million like tweets were like flagged by the government, and it turned out it was actually only like 3,000. Like,
Oh well, if they were just straight up like lying, then yeah, that's like a huge problem for sure.
he like called him out on the fucking video.
I mean, did he have like a good response, or was he just kind of like,
He was
oops?
floundering. Yeah,
He was
just
wondering,
like,
yeah.
but he wasn't just floundering. It was also because like Mehdi Hassan was just like
very aggressive.
like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just didn't.
No, I know he's a very aggressive. Yeah, I think I know exactly who you're talking about now. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of him. Didn't he also used to work for Al Jazeera? I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
No, but if there was anyone to score points on, I think the Twitter files is pretty much it.
I saw him like in a Muslim debate one time, I think.
Really?
Yeah, because this is back when he was on Al Jazeera, which is through Qatar.
Yeah.
And is it people call it Qatar? I think it's technically
Qatar.
Qatar.
I've heard it both ways.
Yeah. Who knows?
I
I'm
don't
feeling
know.
good about this game.
Feeling good?
Yeah, none of his attacks are really doing all that much. He's
What? So what's your streaming schedule? What any big plans? Any video essays? Any content?
a video essay would be kind of fun, but oh boy. But I'm a little bit of like a perfectionist when it comes to like the editing, and I'm also like not the best at editing. So it's just kind of like scenario of like I just don't do it. I just stream like debates, and then I'm also going to do more of these as well.
Okay.
Just where we hang out. But my thought process is like, yeah, a couple of video essays would be interesting. But I still like love the kind of the debate. I guess atmosphere. Some people say it's dead. Some people say it's like coming back. I don't fucking know. I don't do it.
It's in flux. It's in flux right now. I don't think it's easy to say one way or the other.
Yeah, I just it's something that it is what I do, even if it's regardless of if it's like in vogue or not. So
Yeah.
it's just gonna be, yeah. If it's not big, then I'm just gonna have to survive off a smaller audience, but that's fine too because I
Are the
my
primaries
audience.
this year? Are the primaries this year? Or are they next year?
I think next year, but I should know that, but I actually
I
don't.
Because I mean, surely when the election comes around, surely politics is gonna.
Oh my God, yeah. So that's the thing, right? So like, there's gonna be debates in like every fucking like, oh, this person said this during the debate. Like, what do you think about it? Blah blah blah. Like this, that, and I think things are gonna heat up around the election time, obviously, and so I'm gonna be there for that.
It's
But
gonna be like trying to catch a wave.
I mean, yeah, but like I'm gonna be, like I said, I'm gonna be here regardless, right? So like you build up an audience base, based on what they like to see, and I'm not gonna go ahead and just fucking, lose the plot, switch the plot to something else just because it looks enticing. I'm gonna do what is my passion, as they say, right?
What is your passion right now? Like I guess in like the political sphere. Like what is like It's like the one thing you really
debating,
want to know.
debating people on the internet. That's my
Yeah, but is there any particular like issue you really want to get across? Any pet
like,
projects?
I mean, there's like no specific issues, just like general like libertarian shit. Oh, alright. This is a major attack coming in. Oh, it's a lot of banelings.
It's a lot of banelings.
And he wasted a whole bunch of them on my Nexus. Okay. I think he fucked up. I think I win now.
That's typically how banelings work. It's either you either win or you lose.
Yeah. Because I don't... Now those infestors are going to be a pretty big problem unless I can get I have to get an observer. They can still
Okay.
neuroparasite, right? That's still like a thing?
Yeah, neuroparanosis is still a thing.
Okay, yeah, that could be a problem.
Okay, do you know what I hate about YouTube?
About
Really fuck-
YouTube?
Yeah.
No.
You know those Mr. Beast thumbnails where like someone's mouth is just like slightly open and like their eyes are like colored particularly white. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't. I mean, if you're talking about like general like clickbait thumbnails, do I fucking hate clickbait thumbnails? 100%, right? But
I don't even know if I hate clickbait thumbnails.
I hate clickbait thumbnails so much, dude. It feels so
But, like,
cheap.
Well, no, I don't know. As long as like the clickbait is something that actually has to do with like what's in the video, that's fine. But like I fucking Christ. Like these fucking this Mr. Beast guy, like Mr. Beast, and Destiny did it recently. like where they just have like their face like and their eyes are like really wide and they're like oh, and it's so fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid. And like the worst part is that like like people like go like oh, what's that? Oh, his face is like surprised. What is it? And they click it.
Yeah, they're just excited about all the money they're gonna make when you click on the video. That's what they're excited about.
Oh my god.
Oh, I'm so bad at this. I gotta fucking. Did he not upgrade anything? Oh, he's been upgrading, but just not much. Okay. Now he loses.
So you
I say that's the thing. I don't want to do. I don't want to do clickbait fucking thumbnails. I don't like them. I cringe whenever I see them. And this is the thing. Like, it's frustrating that this is the algorithm. I won one, yeah. It's frustrating that like that's the algorithm, but yeah, I think the fucking. I'm gonna be a boomer for a second. I think the next generation needs to not be so impulsively triggered at
the screen.
at somebody holding their eyes wide open. It's weird.
It's so stupid.
It's not,
It's
it's fucking weird.
like
dude.
hold on, I can like DM you like a picture.
No, yeah, you can DM me, but I mean, I know what you're talking about. This sort of like really weird, like
Oh,
he said
Oh.
what? Oh my god.
Oh.
There, something said what? Who ha who?
Oh.
Who?
and then Destiny's starting to do it, and I'm like, no, don't you fucking dare.
He doesn't make. I don't think he makes his like thumbnails though. I think they have somebody like a.
He gives them the August. That's all he
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, and then like that. I don't even know who that person is, but that person like will, like basically look at a screen of like what gets the most views, and then like oh we're gonna do that.
You know what's like crazy? Like when I like see it in like a like $1 million businesses, you know, like they have like infrastructure, they have shit set out, right? You got like a team of like 20 people maybe to get like good revenue going. Dude, these fucking YouTubers, they're making fucking bank, and it's like a team of 3 people:
Mhm.
content creator, thumbnail guy, editor, and then they deal with like the MCN or whatever. But like, holy shit, dude, they're making so much fucking money.
Yeah,
There's
I think it shows that like how difficult like it is, how even large companies can struggle, right, when it comes to making a good product, and how like smaller businesses can pretty easily take over, because sometimes when you're becoming like a giant fucking corporation, where all that matters is, the stock price, and you don't want to take any risks, you don't want to do anything to affect that, you lose the plot, and you don't make good shit anymore. And then there's also this phenomenon, like as we've clearly seen with iDubbbz, where you have somebody who gets really big, and then their content falls off a fucking cliff, and becomes
Yeah, but
absolute
that one
ass.
that one's his girlfriend, dude, because that
Absolute
one's his girlfriend, dude, because he's just a cuck at the end of the day.
Everyone says that. Well, I mean, I don't think we can say that word, by the way. So we're not gonna.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's okay.
Gotcha.
Duck.
Uh,
A duck.
yeah. So I disavow for the purposes of stream moderation, but I think it has more to do with just like his personality has changed a lot. I think that he and part of it's also probably like a reaction to the mark. Like I don't think he could make the same stuff he was making in the past and get away with it and not get banned right away. That's like the other thing about it.
How far back?
Huh?
What?
My
You
Discord,
good?
my Discord just fucking disconnected me. It's weird.
It's been a bug that's been going around. Mine's done it too.
Oh. Huh.
No, but like how far back are we talking? Because if we're talking filthy Papa Franco, okay, I absolutely agree. That is a different internet. But like even some of his like content cop stuff is
No.
pretty tame.
There's no way you can do the content comps because YouTube set like standards now where you can't like, what is it, like you can't criticize people online anymore. Like you can't, like it would be targeted harassment. That would absolutely be like considered targeted harassment, right? Like, oh, you made a video about me telling me I suck. You are targeting me. Like didn't like Leafy got banned off of just doing like some. Now he went pretty hard, to be fair.
No, Leafy was nowhere because Leafy would do like the kill yourself type
Oh, would he?
stuff in his videos. Like in that vein, not exactly. You know, it's the unalive yourself stuff as
Right.
someone would say. But I mean like I don't know cuz I felt like when I watched Content Cop, I was getting like a fair review at the end of the day. Like no BS, it's just actually like more how it is and then cuz didn't he use like objective metrics?
No, it was very rarely objective metrics. He would just like he was pretty quick, just in terms of like insulting people, and so he could insult people really well.
I'm thinking of like when he did the Fine Bros and stuff like that. He did like a little bit of
Oh, that's another great example of somebody who like got big and then just like fucked everything up because they like got way too
Yeah.
focused on like the big picture as opposed to like any kind of like content creation. Damn.
Fine Bros. Jesus, that's a throwback.
Yeah, dude.
That's like over 4 years old throwback. Like when did that happen? That happened like 2018, right?
Yeah, it's been a long time for them.
Well, that's 5 years. People don't think that.
Yeah, 2018 was a long fucking time ago.
That's crazy. It still feels like Trump was president like yesterday.
In 2018, I was in high school when he was like getting in. Like that's and now I'm like 23. Like that's the fucking difference in time right there.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Fine Bros, like they fucked up so hard. Like they were trying to patent the idea of reacting to things.
Yeah.
They would have got away with it. They would have got away with it too if they didn't if they weren't retarded. Or can I say that too? Or
I don't know, dude. I've heard people say it, but I mean I wouldn't.
I mean, like you can say it
Gotcha.
culturally, but you can't say it on YouTube.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't go to a guy who has like Down syndrome or something like
Right.
that. I'm not gonna be mean.
See, that's the thing. Like people talk about like the R word as if it's like the N word, as if like, oh, like, you're gonna offend someone who actually like has like those things. But like at no point has anyone ever like used. I don't think anyone's ever used that word to like.
Okay, Roan, I don't. I think with how you're explaining it right there, I thought it was gonna take a very different path. I thought it was like, well, like what? They can't understand it.
Yeah, dude. We're not going down that road.
Like,
Yeah, that's not good.
no, they can't get it. They don't get it. It's
Yeah,
fine.
that would not be an
They're-
effective argument, I think.
No.
yeah,
Like-
I thought. Oh.
but no one's in their head thinking like, oh, the fucking like mentally ill people. God damn it, I hate them. Like no one's thinking that when they say it.
No, they're just trying to.
It's just a language
really
police
mean-
thing.
Yeah.
What they really mean is like you are so fucking stupid.
They're trying
No other explanation.
to malign someone's intelligence. That's all that is.
I
But
think,
here's my argument against saying it though. With that said, here's my argument against saying it. One time I was on the train, and I was on the phone with a buddy of mine. I was like, oh my god, that's so retarded.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I hear a little girl behind me start crying.
Whoa! What did you?
And I turn around and she like obviously has Down syndrome.
Oh, you would see. You gotta know
And
your
her-
fucking audience, dude.
you didn't.
Oh, dude, I
She
felt
caught a stray.
so bad. I cried. Like I actually like I was apologizing to the mother. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. She's like, haven't you done enough? I'm like, oh my god.
Oh my god, she said that. Haven't you done
No,
enough?
I don't remember what she said, but she, like, but it was something along those lines. Like I think I was like 18 at the time.
Damn, dude.
Um,
You
and
got,
like
you got wrecked.
I like ran to the bathroom for like the entire train ride.
Oh.
Like,
Well, at least you
it
felt
was
bad
so
about it. Man.
embarrassing.
Yeah, you gotta be careful about stuff like that.
So yeah, like, but like I didn't know, like they were behind me. I didn't see them at all. It's like I thought.
I don't like it because it's like a very easy insult, and it's like when you get used to saying easy insults, like your insults start to.
It's
just
true.
Suck.
Oh, your insult game is lacking when they unbanned like the R word and
Yeah,
DGG.
yeah.
Dude, you could just see it. You could just see the degrade in user quality.
Yeah, people got like really bad. Like whenever they get angry, instead of like coming up with something interesting, they'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh well, you're just." It's like okay, all right.
You're mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so true.
Yeah.
Like I do remember that day. I was like, wait, well, okay.
Dude, I remember when the R word got unbanned, dude. I remember immediately hopping into a call with like J-Boz, Micro, and a couple
Oh,
other
yeah.
fucking
Oh
hooligans.
my
I think you were there, Lactoid. Weren't you there? And we were just like cooking up schemes on how to just say the R word.
That was awful, dude. Such a decline in intelligence that day.
Well, dude, fucking when Micro joined the call and he's like, Auntie, is it true? I felt so happy for him. Like you could see he was grinning from ear to ear. It's like a kid on Christmas, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
When it got unbanned.
Yeah.
oh
dude,
yeah, he
was-
loved that.
He
dude.
was very excited about it.
He was happy.
He was like uncomfortably, like it made me uncomfortable how happy he was. Like more than the word itself getting unbanned. Just like why this is really important to you, huh? Alright.
Like, chill.
Yeah, like, it's not that big of a deal. I guess to some people it matters a whole bunch.
I mean, if you're going a bit, I would recommend like doing like TikTok or like short form content. Like do that react shit, Lactoid.
Oh
Right?
god.
Because that's
No.
it's no, because you're gonna it's like stupid, but you know what? It's where the fucking market's at, and then you could use that as a vehicle to shift your fucking ideas and ideology. Okay.
So yeah.
Ultimately, if no eyes versus many eyes, I don't know.
No, so you're right. Like in some regard, that I mean, in order to like make a difference, like politics, like reaching multiple people is probably a good thing. The I guess where we're gonna maybe come to a little bit of like an issue is, I fucking hate TikTok. Like it sucks. It's Chinese malware. I hate it. I hate using it. What I think I'm gonna do is just
What's going
hopefully get some friends to do it for me. That's the goal.
Yeah, keep like a team small, and like well, that's what I'm saying. Cause then you could just do like you do like a 10-minute react video, do like the aberrant preach style
It's
shit.
gonna be easier. It's gonna be easier if you drove yourself because I have to go to work tomorrow. Okay,
Okay.
they'll save me like an hour.
Your hot
Gotcha.
micing really bad, just so you know.
Yeah. What a bitch. Oh my
Whoa,
god.
you can't do that.
Whoa. Whoa.
She's my mom. I can call her the fucking want.
Hey, your mom is a wonderful person. Don't
The big bitch I know.
No. That's not true.
Okay, I'll get her. I'll bring her
You can't
back.
do that.
I'll call her a
No,
bitch
No,
on
no, you
stream.
can't. You can't do that.
Don't call your mom a bitch on
You
stream.
can't.
No.
You can't.
You can't do that.
TOS.
I
It's
probably.
racist.
Sounds like
That's
a. It could
lame.
be like a gendered insult, I guess, if we want to.
What if she agrees to it though? She's like, I am a bitch.
No.
And
That's not gonna. It's not gonna fly.
What if I was able to take the context of which I call men bitches and use that?
See,
for
that's
gender?
interesting. Like if you use it like entirely, like inarguably in a, in like a non-gendered way.
Yeah, like I don't know what context I could possibly work in though. I'm like literally trying to think like, okay, let's say someone doesn't want to do their homework, and you're like, come on, stop being a bitch.
Well, I mean, that would be even like that could be arguably like pro-social. Like we want people doing their homework.
Yeah. But like that would be a use of like the non-gendered form of bitch, right? Because like there's being a bitch as in like you're being weak, you're being lazy, you're being like a loser,
Right.
and then there's being a bitch as in like you're acting like a woman. Like, you know what I mean?
I got a real quick. Someone from my chat said, my dude, he's one of the heavyweight lefty debaters on TikTok. From TikTok on Twitch right now. What does that mean? Debater from TikTok? Do you debate on TikTok?
There are
yeah,
debates on
people
TikTok,
do that shit on TikTok.
How do you debate on TikTok?
They have streams. They have.
Yeah, it's the most autistic shit ever.
Wait,
You didn't know this was
brother. Okay.
Yeah,
hold
they're
on.
streaming on TikTok.
You can debate. So this is like it's like Twitch basically. Everything is becoming like Twitch.
Yeah, just crank like the dials up to like 11. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
The age of like the 5-minute video is dead. Like it is now either the 3-hour long, like
It's the 10-minute, the 3-hour minute Yeah, it's like
no.
30 seconds, 10 minutes, 2 hours.
No, this
That's
is
how
it has become the
goes.
age. No, it's become the age of the 15-minute video with in the background some kind of like surfing or skating or racing video that's like taking up half the screen, and then the bottom screen you have somebody saying something very slowly and dramatic as if it's good advice, when in reality it's somebody just talking out their ass. That
No,
is
yeah,
what's happening right now.
that is the 15-second video for sure. Like, and it's so stupid. Although, here's the thing though, movie reviews have been doing this forever, and no one's ever called them out on that.
Okay, but that's like about movie reviews. This is about like the reason the real estate market. There's video blah 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 blah. Like you can make all your money if
Yeah.
you reverse invest in
Oh,
cryptocurrency. You can
30
bet in
seconds on a
options on
2-hour
this.
More-
film?
it's more dangerous.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
It's way
Fucking
more dangerous.
Entire of economics in a 50 fucking second video. Yeah, no shot.
that's just annoying. It's just like, ugh.
Just
You're just
doom
like, and
scroll.
some of it's just lying. Like you got some people that are like just saying things like investing in a house is like never a good idea. You should rent forever. It's like, oh, like I spent all my money on Lamborghinis, but it's actually I wrote it off as a business expense, so it's actually worth it. It's like you're just fucking. What are you talking about?
Lactoid, little did you know this is very left brain behavior, like in my previous TikTok. Yeah.
I think that the financial gurus give good right wingers a bad name. That's what I think. Good, wholesome.
Okay. What is a good right winger in your view? Not disagreeing with you. Like I think
Not
I'm a
on
good right winger.
TikTok.
Yeah, someone not on TikTok. No, I think a good right winger is somebody who like embodies a lot of the values that like I've been talking about in terms of like, they see being a man as important, not because like oh, I want to like get out there and be like a dick to people and like manipulate women, but more along the lines of like I see it as my responsibility to my society, to my family, to like everything, my culture and all this stuff, to like be an upstanding person. And to like focus on being an upstanding person and doing the right thing when no one's looking, and being independent and being capable, like those kind of things. Like that's what I see as like a good right.
Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
That's a man that I could model myself after.
Yeah. That's a good right winger.
I don't know if he's like a right winger, but yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
from what
people delegate too much.
He
though,
feels like a right
right?
winger.
From what I understand, these like Hollywood like elites, like they're all kind of right wing.
No, they're like no, they're. What are you talking about?
I
They're
like
in the
Will
bluest place ever. Like,
Will,
how
Will
it's
Smith.
like,
Will Smith is like a little bit more right wing than like your average progressive or even your average like socially
Yeah.
conscious liberal.
If Will Smith is a right winger, I wouldn't call him a good right winger.
Well, I see. I think the Overton window has like moved so far to the right that like some people who are like considered left are actually right.
yeah, but did you see him slap that one other black
Yeah,
dude? Right?
no, slapping
Yeah,
Chris
come
Rock
on.
was like a terrible move.
Oh, wait, all these comedians, like for some reason, comedy is now moving in the direction of like the right. Have you noticed that?
No,
Like
not
Chris
really.
Rock got like a lot of flack from like leftoids.
I think it's not moving. It's moving right in only one regard. Not crap. It's moving right in only one regard, and that is obviously because it's like against their financial interests. Is like the cancel culture kind of thing. Well, we should be able to say these words, and the right wing doesn't really have a problem with it, but we make money off saying the words, so we're gonna like make that an issue. So like I'm gonna be left wing in like everything else, but.
I mean, as someone
people are very self-interested, I think.
I think people who are on the left are just too entrenched in like their politics to actually like be a human for a minute, you know? Like what do you do when like everything relates to like 40 other fucking issues and it's not my fault and I can't like just enjoy a good old joke about like people, you know? Gotta be always about something else.
like like from my like experience in like the comedy scene in New York, like there are comedians who really just want to say the most heinous shit.
Shock comics, yeah.
But for the most part, like even here, it's like yeah, like for the most part, everyone's like kind of a liberal. Everyone's like generally liberal.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed though is that even like these generally liberal comedians, they get fucking pushback from like certain comedy shows down in like Brooklyn or Manhattan, where you're just like, what the fuck? Like this isn't even that offensive of a like. It's not. I'm not saying anything that offensive. And
I think you're talking about the anti-SJW like art.
no, but they're not anti. No. These are like SJWs getting like flamed by other even more SJWs.
What's purity testing?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's the ultimate thing.
It's an
Like,
eco.
what
It's
the
an
fuck do you do?
It's an ecosystem. It's really interesting. So like yeah, like you have. I think they behave like the sort of like left winger like SJW types. They behave very much like a natural selection sort of like in manner of like when they smell weakness, like when somebody like portrays some kind of weakness, we're like, oh, they made a mistake, right? They said a word they weren't supposed to. Like I can extrapolate what they said to be offensive somehow, and then I'm going to like we're all gonna gang up on like the weak one, right? They smell weakness and they all like hunt them down and destroy them to make room for like someone new. It feels very like animalistic, which is
White blood cell.
Well,
yeah,
it
like
sucks
white
more-
blood cell kind of behavior a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It,
They're
it just
like the
sucks more
lupus
when
of
you're
people.
when your politics are just by how good you preach your dogma. Just kind of is more inherent to the position, like how it sucks, right? Like, oh, you didn't say this thing effectively. They fucking sense that weakness, quote unquote, and pounce, right? Like you don't really fucking care. Kind of just shows with your actions. No.
What I constantly hear from like other comedians is how like they can make fun of a conservative audience in front of a conservative audience, but they can only make fun of a conservative audience in front of a liberal audience. Like there's something to be said about like the right sort of ability to take it on the chin in terms of like sense of humor. However, if they're too far right, like if they're like very Trumpy Republicans, they get just as offended as like the SJWs. Dude, I remember this one comedian made like the lightest of Trump jokes, and like this woman just started shouting at him in like the middle of his show. It was the most cringy fucking shit.
What do you guys think about so someone brought up that it's a religion, and I do believe that
The dogma?
Yeah, like it's a very dogmatic
Yeah.
kind of like way of thinking of like we have these like instead of like the Bible, right? We have this text that you have to like believe literally, otherwise you're excluded. Um, maybe this is just like a
Yeah.
description of a
It's like-
social phenomenon generally, but there's certain people that subscribe to this, I think, way more than others. And I think like hardcore progressives really subscribe to this theory of like we have like the text, which except the text is not like the text. It's like this sort of like cultural understanding of like social responsibility.
Yeah, it's a vibe.
Yeah, it's like a vibe. Yeah, it's very
Vibe.
spiritual.
It
and
literally is a vibe.
yeah, and it's not a surprise then why a lot of like left wingers will describe their belief system as like very spiritual specifically because it seems to be what they operate on in their social like in their lives as well. Like just like do I get a good vibe from this? Like the vibe is the leading doctrine. And if you fit within the vibe, then you are acceptable. If you don't fit within the vibe, then you must be excised somehow. Like you're problematic. You don't fit in.
Well, what
And-
sucks is the reasoning, though, right? Like, because at the end of the day, it's not fitting like that zeitgeist itself, and instead you're just being like purity checked constantly against this arbitrary. Because at least with the Bible, right? If I do some like bad shit, you'd be like, "Hey, right here, motherfucker, subsection C, that like." like you
yeah,
could go
yeah,
and,
yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
dude,
that's how the
dude,
Mormons
just-
get away with like soaking.
yeah.
dude, but just give me the fucking book, dude. I'll adhere to it. I
Yeah.
just want to know. Like, give me the fucking list of the shit I can't say. Like, I don't know what to fucking say on Twitch, right? I don't know the fucking rules here, but no one tells me this shit. How am I supposed to figure out in these fucking political spaces?
It
Oh,
requires.
you said, oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
It requires a level of like an advanced level of social awareness that is difficult, right? It's just difficult for like a lot of like normal people to like understand. Like, okay, well the rule was this last week, and now the rule is this week, and I don't spend enough time on here to like feel the
that's not
vibe.
social understanding. That's mind reading, dude. Like, what the fuck? Am I
yeah. Like
No,
I saw somewhere where somebody got banned for being too drunk on stream, and there was like no precedent for it, and there was no warning, and it was like, what? Like, where? Okay, how do? Okay, that's the rule now, and like, it feels very. Have you guys ever read Kafka, Franz Kafka, at all?
Yeah,
No.
So Franz Kafka is my favorite author, and the reason he's my favorite author is because he is really like a lot of the themes. First of all, everything's a metaphor in his stories, which is immediately awesome. But a lot of the themes that he explores in his writing is the sort of like sensation of crime and punishment, and the sensation of exclusion, right? And so and this feeling of like you're being punished, but like the audience doesn't really know what reason is what is the reason that this person's being punished. Nobody knows. The punisher doesn't even really fully know like why he's punishing this person, but like it just is that way.
Wait, are you talking about Crime and Punishment?
No, I'm talking about in the penal colony.
No,
I
that's
think
Sochevsky.
yeah.
Yeah.
In the
sorry.
penal.
Have you read Dostoevsky?
I have not read Dostoevsky. Is it?
Oh.
Wait, isn't it?
Dostoevsky.
Wait. Is it Dostoevsky?
Dostoevsky.
Dostoevsky.
I always fuck it.
Yeah,
Fucking Russian.
don't worry.
Ugh. Yeah.
They're hard names. Slavic names are difficult to pronounce. That and Polish names. I just give up sometimes. I feel bad.
Yeah. No, but I would definitely read some of his works. You could like start with Crime and Punishment. I liked The Idiot, but
It's good.
he the way he because he like actually was going through like he thought he was going to be executed, and him describing his like final quote unquote final days, because what they did was they tried to break their spirit, so they like basically put the bag over his head, lined him up, made him like think that the people around him were dying, took off the bag, and they're like, all right, you go into the fucking work camps, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a
and
common.
him describing that like that 5 seconds, I think there was like a quote where it's like he would rather like have them shoot him in
Yeah.
that moment to like be free than to like have that burden of like eternity in that final moment like just to experience that.
Yeah.
And it's
torture.
it just sounds like, well, the way he describes it, it made me really reconsider the death penalty.
That's yeah. Yeah, the death penalty is difficult. But no, I think. Oh boy. Hold on one second. I gotta do some damage with these Hellions.
It's a crazy fucking way to die.
Nice. And line up for me.
Well, it's like I said,
yeah.
he was very flowery with it, so.
Not to disrupt the book club. But
Oh.
Dude, reading is based. The point I was
Reading is
trying to get at when it came to Kafka is this sensation of like there is a sort of horror, I think, that comes with like the sensation of being punished, but you don't know why, and nobody knows why. The person who's punishing them doesn't know why. None of the audience knows why. But like just the way society is just like you did the thing, or you didn't do anything, but we have to punish you now because that's just how it goes. And it almost seems like sort of SJW culture or like some moderation. Some moderation in a way. It is somewhat like hyper religion. It's like religion without the text. It's like we don't know, like it just is the way this is, but like you can't read the book to tell you how it is. You just have to like feel out the vibes to know what it is.
Yeah. Like Friedrich Nietzsche argues that like what Christianity did was introduce this idea of evil into the world. Like, oh, you're not just bad, you're evil. And like when you're evil, that means like we can pretty much justify anything against you. And when like this new sort of liberal left-wing atheist movement started coming to be, they sort of kept that idea of like evil in their worldview, where it's like
you can see this happen in real time if you watch the evolution, or I would say the devolving of the atheist experience, that show with Matt Dillahunty.
Oh no, has that been devolving?
Oh yeah, like I started watching it when it came out like 12, 13 years ago, and it became so, I guess SJW is the term I would use. Like it's basically the trans atheist experience now, which fine, whatever. But it's like these people traded one faith for another.
Right.
Oh, dude. So that was looking at my friends, because like I said, fucking when I was through the school system, this shit was just on the rise. My friend took a literal feminist like course. Like I don't fucking know what the specifics was, but they showed me their textbook, dude, and it just literally sounded like a religion, and it's like giving all your excuses for this cause was that. Oof.
If you don't
It's
support,
more scary than anything.
If you don't support the agenda, it's not like there's not like there's no reasonable like room for debate on this. It's like this is like these are the people that are the problem, and like we have to like just exclude them. We have to.
Have I told you my feminist story?
Your
Have I
feminist
told you this
story? I don't think so.
Yeah, what's up?
Dude, oh my god, you're gonna fucking love this. Dude, so when I was in high school, senior year, I was just taking like the college prep classes, right? So I was in like Lang 103 or some shit like that. And the teacher out the gate, first semester, 2 semesters with this bitch.
Wait.
Yeah, sorry. 2 semesters with this one. Well, actually, no, fuck this woman, dude.
No.
Actual asshole. Dude, no. So she out the gate says, I'm a feminist, right?
Sure.
I'm going to advocate for the women first. I'm like, who are you? You haven't even introduced your name yet. Already not a fucking good look.
She is Miss Feminist.
So,
that's her name.
She's Miss Feminist, dude. And you know what? Women fucking did well in her class. But the boys, I don't think there's anyone who got above a B-, right? My mom's an English teacher, and I'm like, dude, this woman's not like sane.
Did she know? Did your school ever do like blind grading? Did she know whose grade was whose?
She knew.
Okay.
Because it was at the time when they were doing the integration with computers and shit. So, Here's your paper. Here's the name attached to it.
Right. So
No, like,
in law school, what they do is in order to avoid, which I think every school should do this. Like this is like it's a very easy thing to do. I think it prevents teacher bias. I think it prevents racial bias. I think it prevents gender bias. It prevents the students from feeling insecure about like, oh, is the teacher like going to discriminate against me, and that can lead to like test anxiety and everything. Where at the beginning of the course, they give you like a number. You never put your name on the exam. They get like
just put number.
Yeah, the director of student services like gives you a number, and then like the professor doesn't even fucking know it, and then like when you submit your exams, you submit it with the number, and like the professor grades it, and then like you find out what it is later, right? And the professor doesn't even know. The professor has no idea, right? I think that's a brilliant way to grade because, yeah, I think that like people can get uncomfortable. Like test anxiety is already a thing, and people can get really uncomfortable when they think like, well, why am I even bothering? This teacher hates me. They're
Well,
gonna,
dude,
they're gonna be biased.
the bias in my instance was so fucking funny, right? Because I go in, my mom's an English teacher, so I'd have her vet my papers, and I'd be like, "What do you think?" She's like, "Honestly, this is one of the best papers you've ever written. I'd say an A minus." I'm like, yes, let's go, dude. I'd get back an F, right? I'm like, what am I doing? Is it me? Did I like say something to this woman to hate me? So I, on my final paper, which was worth 30% of the grade, I'm like, if I don't do something, I'm failing this class. So I told my friends, I'm like, guys, I think I got the in. I think I got the in. So I go over all sad and pouty to her on the last day.
What the fuck?
I'm like, hey, could I get an extension to my paper? She's like, no. Well, what happened? Why? Why do I give you an extension? And I'm like, well, I've had a real hard time at home. Like I just came out and like I'm gay. And, like, my parents aren't like
You
really
did
taking
not.
this.
You did
Oh,
not.
I did. I absolutely did, dude. And this this woman bought it up, dude. She ate it up. She wanted it.
I've
This
heard
is
you
what
tell
she
this
wanted,
story.
dude. And like it's so sad because you know what? I suddenly get a B plus on my paper, dude. Right? Like the bias is so it's so there. Like my friends. By the way, all of my friends were like, dude, the one time being gay is cool, and they were giving me fucking 5 5s and shit, dude. Because no one did it except me, but they were just like curious, like, yeah, is this what she wants? Like, does she just want like I don't know.
Okay.
If I were her, I would have
Yeah.
told you to prove it.
Oh my
You're gonna
god.
work for this B plus.
Well, how could she have proven it? Wait, if it's a woman.
Well, he doesn't have to prove it with me, but I need.
Yeah, but
Oh,
like,
like
if I prove
boyfriend
it,
and-
if I prove it with her, like, I'm gay in this hypothetical, right? If I eat her out and it's good, like, that's only in my fucking it's only gonna hurt my case, right?
Yeah, like you have to be bad. You have to deliberately fuck it up. Like, yeah, you're like, oh, the way you
Yeah, do the alphabet.
gay.
I think a non-theistic religion is like the best way to describe it. Yeah, in terms of.
Yeah, it's religion without the metaphysics.
Well, it's
Yeah, but
religion it's religion without God.
That's what I said.
Well, metaphysics doesn't mean. Is that what that means?
Metaphysics.
Yeah.
God is metaphysics for
Pretty
dummies.
much.
I don't. Well, I don't know about that.
Why is this thing good? Because God said it is good. Like that's metaphysics.
That's one that's one like theory of metaphysics, but like my understanding of metaphysics is like broader. Like, not to get like pedantic, but like a broader question about like the nature of thought and.
Oh, of course.
Well, I thought metaphysics was like the nature of like space and time, and like more like the founding principles of like what we base our reality off of.
Wait. Ontology is a metaphysical principle, first of all, and secondly, like the concept of God isn't to be like. It's not necessarily that like this is metaphysics. It's that like you use the concept of God to explain metaphysical things. Like, well, why is this a good thought? Well, it's like because like it gets us closer to God, or like God is basically just like a tool that we use to be like. There's the good thing over there. That's it.
Right. I don't know. I think it's one way to interpret it, but I mean, like, not like atheists are pretty obsessed with metaphysics. I think.
They
Yeah.
they are and they aren't. Like they do sort of say like you know the ontologically evil meme, right? Like
Dude, I think dude, we just need like good art, like from both sides.
that's what
To
Schopenhauer
make the
says.
shit more Yeah, like just make the shit more convincing for the common man, right? Like,
But also,
Good art.
yeah, good art, dude. Give me the good right wing art. Give me the good give me the good left wing art. I've yet to see it. Like,
give
shit.
me God's Not Dead.
There's no good art.
Like okay, okay. You know what? I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Okay. Dave Chappelle, right wing art. Okay.
Nah.
We're claiming him. We're claiming him.
Oh, you bastard. Okay, we're gonna kill you.
Oh, so cringe. Dude, fucking I was watching like Florenzio. Micro fucking recommended that guy to me. Oh my god, dude.
I haven't seen Micro in like forever.
Yeah, he's kind of like taking a hiatus, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
Why
Black
are
Sun.
you speaking?
Oh. Oh.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Hey, idiot, moron.
Why
That's
are you-
pretty good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Oh my god.
Terran always wins base races, right? I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
Well, the idea
Yeah,
is
they
like
do.
move your base race, right?
All right, I
Um,
got a dip. Y'all have a good one. I bet little fucking book club thing. Yeah, I absolutely.
I'm
will.
sorry.
I think you should definitely read Dostoevsky or yeah,
Dostoevsky.
you know what if
Yeah.
Let's
yeah.
toy as in toy. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I'm just gonna call him Fedor or Fedor or God. Yeah, what the fuck, dude? These names are so fucking.
They're pretty awesome, dude.
They're definitely cool, but like not fun to pronounce. But yeah, I'm gonna see it.
Yep, catch you later.
All right, now that fucker's gone. No,
I'm gonna walk my
Uh,
dog. I'll be back.
Damn.
Alright,
Dogs are cool.
who's an example of a good right winger in your mind? If you have one, if you don't have one, that's fine.
So I don't think anybody's perfect.
Yeah.
I just think that like on balance, there's like people who are like good and people who are like not good. I think I actually think Jordan Peterson is not bad, or at least
I
wasn't
could
bad.
see him being. I would put him as an example as a good right winger. Sure.
Yeah. You might not agree with this, but like Ben Shapiro, I think is okay too.
I've moved a little bit more on him recently. I'll say that much.
In terms of liking him,
Or
or in terms of
not
not liking him.
liking him, but in terms of like respecting him for sure. I think the whole thing he did with the Fresh and Fit video, I think like that's the voice that's needed to get right wingers to be more like sexually conservative.
He did a video on like criticizing Fresh and Fit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it was,
good.
he was like, this is not like you don't want to be some guy who's like fucking 50 women. You like you want to get married, like want to have kids.
Right.
Like this is a responsible living. I think that's healthy. It's almost like the old guard are like fighting the new guard.
I'm gonna run into buildings.
I don't know if you'd agree with that statement. That like these right wing like figureheads of like 5 years ago are now like clashing with like the Andrew Tate Fresh and Fit.
Yeah. Yeah, they're more like again like conservative that are like socially kind of like the whole point is like family kind of orientation, stuff like that, as opposed to So this factory can just like, if he kills this factory, I think I just die though. So like, this is hilarious.
No bueno. Okay, so actually, now that I put it this way, though, I'm actually kind of worried about the Republican Party, or the conservative movement in general. Because like, what if like the Jordan Peterson types, the Ben Shapiro types, what if they lose that argument against the Andrew Tate types?
Yeah, I would think it'd be bad. I think you would have a bunch of like, you'd have a bunch of people who are just, oh, you're driving.
Sorry,
Bunch of
did you hear that?
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
you hear
yeah.
that?
No, that
Hello.
was a vehicle. A bunch of people who are like, I don't know, like hyper, like kind of frat bros sort of people.
Like, I don't think that's what we want in our party. Like, I mean, we do want that, right? We want those people too.
When you say or, you are not, you are a
Ow.
leftoid, okay?
I am not a leftoid.
You are
okay?
entirely a leftoid. Just admit
I
it.
have. Listen, why can't we have any voices of dissent in my party?
You can have voices of dissent. I'm just saying, like that's what you are. You are a dissenter.
Just because I'm liberal doesn't mean I'm a leftoid.
Okay, but you're definitely not conservative.
I'm not conservative.
Oh.
That's true. But I would kind of argue that being liberal is like a little bit of like the new conservative.
What is that supposed to? Like, explain that.
Like I think the people, like the Democratic Party is like pulling as hard as they can to the left.
That's true.
And like they are pulling us like super hard. And I think
Oh fuck.
in like a little bit of like a post-Trump world, the Overton window moved a little too far to the right. And so like even though like this group of people is on the left of where the conservatives are now, I think after like the Democratic Party is done pulling to the left, like the Overton window will sort of reveal that like, oh, actually liberals are kind of on the right.
Look, if you shift the Overton window enough, even the leftoids will be on the right.
But
you-
I think
think about
there's
it.
like a sort of I think there's a more naturalistic Overton window. Like there's the true Overton window, and then there's the one that we have, and like they're mix matched.
I don't think there's any true Overton window. I think like a true Overton window feels a little bit like a cope.
See, I disagree. Like I think like the quote unquote true Overton window has to do with like your political philosophies, not necessarily that there is some like something written in stone somewhere. Like I think there's like basically two governing philosophies that like the left and the right have sort of diverged from. The right's governing philosophy is like self-governance, you know, like personal responsibility.
On some things, but then on other things, they're just like a lot of right wingers are just totally inconsistent, like drugs. It's like, bro, like whatever happened to like, you know, get the government into my business? Never understood that.
Well, the thing is that I think how personal responsibility works is less about like just an individual lifting themselves up by their bootstraps and more about like giving and like empowering individuals to solve their own problems. So like having like a rehab facility be constructed on the taxpayers' dollars is empowering people with a drug addiction to, you know, go to those things themselves.
Right.
Like I do believe that like it's about empowering the individual versus I feel like on the more progressive side of things, that governing side of philosophy is more like, no, we're just going to do this on your behalf. Like, and there's something weird about that. There's something icky.
It's not, my issue is like, it seems like you could justify any kind of spending or any kind of like government policy off of like, oh, we're just empowering you to like solve the problem. Like, couldn't you? So
it depends on like how the government is spending that money. Like sorry, not how the government is spending that money, but how these things are implemented. into the mechanisms of society. Because let's say like
Yeah, I got you there.
I'm trying to think of a good example. I need to think on this one for a second.
Sure. Because that's what I always hear. Whenever anybody's like trying to like basically do some big government shit, they're always like, look, we're just, we're giving people opportunities. We're, they're never going to phrase it in the sense of like, we're giving people like handouts. But I think that like ultimately I think they're a lot like modern, maybe this is the difference, right? I think there's like two conceptions of left wing that I think about whenever I imagine somebody who's left wing. I imagine the one brand that I think is gone, which is this belief in like worker empowerment and this concept of like the workers should own like the means of production. The workers should like get what they, like what they created with their own labor, blah, blah, blah. Like that's one kind of vein that I think that's dead. The other vein is society is fundamentally unfair. It's inequitable, right? We have some people with a whole bunch of shit, and we have a whole bunch of people with very little shit, and it like offends my sense of justice that this continues to be the case. And what level of richness or like I guess disproportionality offends who is going to be like just depend on how further left somebody is. So like I've heard a lot of people say like, well, I think some people like should be wealthy, but like Jeff Bezos, when you have that much money, no, that's too much. And then like wherever they put their line is just like that just depends like where just how far left.
Okay.
So if you and the point here is like if you had somebody who like let's say they were like a hardcore like ditch digger, and they were so fucking good at digging ditches they made $30 million a year, and they worked their ass off, and they were so good at what they did. I still think that like a leftist would have a major problem with this, even if they like earned all the money by themselves, because ultimately the thing that's bothering them is not like the work that the workers aren't getting like their
wealth inequality.
What they're entitled to. Yeah, what's bothering them is like this perceived inequity in society. Oh, dude, who does Dark Templar anymore? Jesus Christ.
Ooh,
This
that
is
sucks.
crazy.
No, I agree. Like there's like, oh, I believe this is unjust because people are naturally entitled to being this and this and that. And it's true and it's not true at the same time. Like you're not naturally entitled to anything.
They don't believe that. That's the important difference. I believe that, but a lot of people don't. And if you believe that, by the way, if you believe that, like, yeah, just by virtue of existing, you are not entitled to the product of somebody else's labor, then I don't think that you're part of this brand of like new leftism. And that's why I ask that in a lot of my debates with like lefties. I'll ask like right off the bat, like on principle, do you think that somebody is entitled to the products of somebody else's labor simply by virtue of the fact that they exist as a person and like exist as a human? And oh god.
No, like I would agree that like no, they're not.
Slow.
But the weird thing is that society is sort of like a different entity than the individual. And how the society sort of interacts with the individual is sort of this weird like value cow that sort of occasionally milks value in like very strange ways. Like for example, like Vince McMahon. I'm assuming you know who Vince McMahon is.
That's the owner of like the fake wrestling, right?
Yeah. Hold on, it's not fake. Okay, it's
that
scripted.
is fake as fuck. What are you talking
about? Dude, well, hold on. What do you mean by fake? I swear to God, I will go down this rabbit hole. Like,
it's an exact.
We can't do this. No, you don't understand what you're doing. If you get me down this, like we will be talking about professional wrestling for like 5 hours.
You like professional wrestling? I never knew that about you.
Professional wrestling.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Okay. Interesting.
But I can't go down this tangent. But anyway, okay. Vince McMahon, he started in a fucking trailer park. Like this man, like literally was like practically as low in the society as you can. He was an abuse victim in many different ways. He used to fight U.S. Marines for money.
What,
Um,
really?
Yes, yes. Like he was like 18 and he was fighting like 20-year-olds for money at
Yeah.
like
I had no idea.
in like a military fort in Florida. This guy is the craziest fucking life. But like these like weirdos of history, they produce sort of random value. Not just by existing, but like having opportunities to thrive. Like for example, the filament in the light bulb. That was invented by a black man. I don't remember his name. But like if we lived in a society in which like African Americans were still fucking slaves, like this light bulb filament would never have been discovered.
Well, we don't know that it would never be discovered, but
Not okay. Never is obviously different, but his name is Lewis Latimer. I think that's his name.
the problem is, again, like you could use this to justify really anything. Like, well, the fact that we live in an inequitable society means that people don't have the opportunities necessary to pull themselves up, and therefore the only way that people can have the necessary resources to pull themselves up is if we give everybody like an equal of everything.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that conclusion, but I do agree with that sort of description. Like I do agree that like you do need a more equitable society in order to have more opportunities to like sort of farm these great men of history, if you will.
Right. So where's I guess the question then is like where's the line? What level of equity do we have to enforce before we're like confident that this person has had sufficient opportunity? But then somebody's going to come to you and say, well, hold on a minute. Like, I was born in a family that made $150,000 per year, but that guy was born in a family that made $200,000, and you can't, $50,000 extra. That's a big jump. You can't like underscore how much that can affect somebody. So in reality, like I was denied the opportunity to grow because of this inequity that my family had.
That's true. Like okay. Let me see if this doesn't make sense, like tell me. But let's say we have two people. One person does everything wrong, fails in life, and gets like practically nothing out of it because they literally just making every wrong possible decision. And then you have another person who's making every right possible decision, but just because of like the set of circumstances they're in, like they still fail at life just because like they're just completely fucked. Like there was no exit out of this maze. It was all dead ends. Like there's something sad about the latter, right? Like there's like an injustice happening there.
Why?
Because it sort of feels like we should be able to construct a society in which if someone does everything right, they should make it to the top. Or not the top, but they should make it. You know what I mean?
You don't think America's that place right now? You don't think?
No,
I
think we are the most. We are the most that place than any other country in the world in history ever.
Okay.
But like we're not fully there yet, right? Like we're still long ways to improve. Like, but
we'll never get there, right? We'll have to keep improving forever. Yeah. I don't know. I think this.
We've made this much progress. We can make a little more.
This is like gonna sound super fucking edgy.
Do it.
Life is unfair. whoa, there's no way.
I know. Oh no,
Um,
dude.
people-
I actually have to tell myself that
Mhm.
like sometimes, like it's weird how often we forget that, but it's true. Yeah.
And what I mean by unfair is not like that's not giving license for people to like violate people's rights and be like, oh well, life is unfair. I'm gonna go ahead and like attack you.
Yeah.
I'm saying like more along the lines of like life is unfair in the sense of some people are born
You're-
smarter than other people.
You're given what you're given.
Well,
Yeah.
some people are born smarter, some people are born faster, some people are born stronger, and some people are born with a stronger work ethic, right? Like a lot of times, I've actually heard this argument that in the same way that like people don't control whether or not like they have like a lot of intelligence or whether they have this, they have that. Really, people, when you boil it down, don't really have all that much control over their work ethic, like in a sort of deterministic sense. So we really shouldn't be like holding the fact that some people are lazy against them because they don't control that they're lazy. They're just born lazy. They're born with like a low work ethic, or an environment completely outside of their control had circumstances that led them to be lazy, and they didn't control those environmental circumstances really. So if you want to go down like that road, I don't see a logical end to it in the sense of, if we have this like hardcore preference of like equity, how the fuck did that happen? This hardcore equity of like, oh fuck, are you kidding me?
No, take your time.
Have you ever read read the book? We're going to go back to book memes. Have you ever read the book or the short story Harrison Bergeron
Oh, I know of it.
by
It's
Kurt
on my-
Vonnegut?
Yeah, it's on my radar. I haven't read it though.
Yeah, well, okay, I'm going to spoil it from you. I spoil it for
No,
you
no.
because
If anything, spoiling it will probably make me read it more.
right. So
No, I'm
it is Kurt Vonnegut is a great one of the most respected authors. A lot of left-wingers like him, which is interesting because he wrote this. And Harrison Bergeron is a story that is like explicitly anti-equity in the whole overall message. And it's a dystopian society in which like there is a strong desire for equity, and because of that, the government creates a new position called the Handicapper General. And the Handicapper General is entirely tasked with making sure people are equal. So if you're very intelligent, you have like earbuds put in that constantly like emit like a loud like buzz so that you can't think very well.
I do know this story. I
Mhm.
do know what you're talking. Yes,
Yeah.
I did. I read it in school.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
And-
Yeah, you have to wear a mask.
Yeah, if you're pretty, you have to wear a mask. If you're too strong, or like if you're too fast, you have to wear like leg weights to like make sure you
Oh.
can't run as fast.
Oh.
That was
No idea. Like I've been trying to think about what this story was called for like years, and I was like, I remember reading this in high school. Like, what is this?
yeah, it is a very common book that they teach you in class, and I love it. And the reason I love it is because
Yeah, it affects.
the reason I like it is because everybody, when you talk about things like equity, and like inclusion and all these kind of like broad terms, the initial sort of like thought process that people go to when they imagine this is like the benefit, like the helping the person out, like the person who's not getting like not who can't otherwise make it, or
I never think about the person being brought down.
exactly. They never look at it like the zero-sum game it is, right? They never look at it in the sense of
Well, I don't think it. Okay, yeah.
so, and I think that's like such an incredible story because there is a cost to equity, and the cost is when you build a society which is like maximally equitous, I guess, in that you have a lot of people who are now forced to sort of like bend down and help up other people at their own expense, when if they were just allowed to like use their natural talents and to like explore without
They
like,
would lift everyone else up.
yeah,
with them.
without that dead weight, they'd be able to like, well, not just lift everyone else. It's more about like there is an injustice when somebody's born with a talent. There's like an inherent injustice with like limiting them, right? Like,
Yes.
yeah, do some people feel bad about the fact they're not good enough to be a singer? Yeah, but like limiting this person who can sing well, then like that sucks even more. Or is there something like is there something like that feels kind of weird, like, oh, this person for one reason or another like can't do like construction work. But that doesn't mean like everyone else should like have to like basically carry them along with them.
Yeah. Like I see where you're going with this, and I want to propose an idea and then come back to this for a second. 'Cause I swear to God, this will loop in. So like the ancient Greeks had this conception of genius that was different from ours. When we use the word genius, we say that person's a genius, as in like they're just great at everything. But how the ancient Greeks, who invented the word, how they used it, they meant it as in like everybody had genius. It's just you were a genius at specific things. Some people were geniuses at math. Some people were geniuses at poetry. Some people were geniuses at washing dishes. Like everyone had genius. It was just very specific to them what it was. So let's say you have like a great artist, right? But they're not born in like a very good economic class, so they have to work as a construction worker, which they're very bad at. Like they're very bad at working as a construction worker. It's the only job they can get.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think that's kind of limiting them from being a great artist in service to like the capital needs of, you know, owners?
I mean, on like a thought experiment, perhaps.
Yes.
I don't think this is how this works generally. I think what you actually have is like a lot of people who want to be
you have
artists.
there's a way more multifaceted issue.
Yeah, you have a lot of people who like really want to be artists, but they're actually just the reason why nobody's like interested in their art is because they suck and
No, but
they're unoriginal.
There are some artists who are very good at their craft, but simply can't pursue art because of
The other part of this too is, sure, if you can have a society full of good artists, but there's only so much desire for art, right? You like at some point there's going to be like there's also going to be like a market demand for I don't know, vegetables or ditch digging or, you know, all the other things that like society like needs, right? So you have this like kind of like market supply and demand system, and yeah, like not everyone, even if you're good, not everyone gets to be an artist. And
yeah, in the face of necessity, all idealism comes crumbling down.
Right.
Like I completely agree with that.
And any kind of variance, I want to point out last thing, any kind of variance that happens like in what people's talents are as opposed to like what they quote unquote should be, any kind of variance in that is entirely just like market driven. Like, and again, the market is just like what people want with their own labor and their own time. And so, you know, when you have, yeah, like if the people don't want you to do this, like you might disagree with them and you might think, yeah, this is totally unfair. Like I'm actually a really good artist. Why is no one buying my art? Why do I have to like work this stupid like fucking like factory job?
But see, now I don't know if you realize it, but you're kind of making the equity argument.
No, not. I'm doing the opposite of
You're saying that like, well, here's this mechanism called the market, and the market is used to get people to do what we all need as a society for people to do.
No. So that's in my mind. That's like maybe I'm not gonna.
Am I wrong about that? Like I could be confused.
I don't know if you're super wrong. I guess what I would just say is like the goal of the market is about never about like or it shouldn't be about like what do we as a society need. We're gonna direct people to do that now. It's more about like me as an individual. What do I want? What do I want to spend my time and resources doing? And then if other people like are willing to like give me their time and labor for me doing that, then I can do it. And then we like, you know, this is the case for one person. This is also the case for like two people. And then we start to like expand this. And before you know it, we have like a society that's based off of what people want, because generally individuals act within their individuals act within their own interest. And
yeah.
Oh my God, so bad. Anyway, and so like on a large scale, this is how I view this. Now, it's an entirely different thought process to start saying, well, what like each individual wants, that's like not what we as like a society want. So now we got to start making like prescriptions, like forcible prescriptions. And once you start making forcible prescriptions, you are outside of the realm of the market. I'm not saying you can't go there, but I'm just saying at that point you are within the realm of like
But
force.
isn't the idea of like capitalist ideology simply that like the market, like the thing about capitalists and communists and what they agree on is that the purpose of society is to meet and address the needs of the people it's beholden to. But communists think that the government can do it, and capitalists think that the market can do it, right? Like, I know that's like oversimplification.
No,
but that's
so
like,
I don't even think that's the case. I don't think that it's like. I think communists have more along the lines of they think that it is like everybody should be able to do whatever they like. Have you seen these specifically certain kind of leftists, like these fucking like anarcho-communists or whatever? They like everybody should be able to do like what they want, like market demand be damned, right? They have you seen those fucking like memes where they're like, what would your job be in the commune? And like literally like fucking 95% of the responses are I'm gonna be a coffee maker / prostitute / poet. And
yeah,
any kind of society like run by these people is gonna like have incredibly available prostitution and coffee and mediocre poetry and very little masonry work and very little food and very little of everything else.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that's more of
Okay.
like a question of meeting society's needs, I guess. But
Speaking of book memes, have you ever read Charles Dickens' Hard Times?
I have not. To be honest with you, I was never a huge fan of Did Charles Dickens write Great Expectations? Was that Charles Dickens?
Oh, I don't know.
Because I hated that book.
I'm not sure. And he wrote a Christmas Carol.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah, Ebenezer Scrooge. But in Hard Times, it talks about like this very specific time in capitalism where like this is like 20s around there. People worked in fucking factories and like it talks about like this school teacher who just wants his kids to know facts and learn useful things for like the market. Like he wants people to know things about metallurgy and like what is productive for society. And like the sort of moral of the story is that like in so heavily focusing on these things, he like forgets to teach them how to be like people, like how to feel, how to love.
Yeah. There's that element too. And I here's like the thing I always tell people who are like, what should I do as a career if they're asking for me for advice. I do think that you should do what you love, but be prepared to not make as much. That's that, right? You're not gonna make as much. You're not gonna be comfortable.
And that's just the world we live in. We live in a very resource scarce society. Like
Right.
we like pretend we don't, but we do. And a lot of people, for some reason, think that like oil just grows on trees or something.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's yeah. Like we really like we don't. I think a lot of people don't recognize the logistical challenges that we have in this world. And like one of the needs that capitalism is very good at like accommodating people for is like. This is going to sound like an oxymoron, but like the need for like prosperity, like the need for like excess, like
I mean,
you know what I mean?
I wouldn't consider any of those needs, but sure.
No, but like
I don't think anything's a need actually. That's like my hot take.
there's more to like there's more to life than just bread and water, right?
Yeah, you got to go out and make it, or you can go out and trade it with somebody if you want something more than bread and water.
But no, but there's also things like beautiful women, like here in America, like we sell all sorts of different cosmetic products. Like nobody needs to wear makeup, but it's great that we live in a society in which like you go outside and like every like woman around you is just so fucking pretty. There's something nice about that. There's something beautiful about that.
My
I think
opinion.
capitalism actually does a good job at like achieving. Like I think there's that famous meme where some was it Gorbachev comes to America and they ran to like another supermarket to see if like they actually did have all this food. like, are you familiar with this?
I haven't heard that specific story, but like it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, like apparently some Soviet like diplomat and like a high up Soviet. I think it was like yeah, like the president or something.
I killed.
They- They were in like an American supermarket. They were like, okay, let's get out of here. Let's go to some random location. There's no way all of these have this much food. And like they did, and he was just like, how the fuck how the fuck are they doing this? Like, how the fuck does there's so much food on the shelves of these stores?
Food production. This is interesting because like people make the starving Soviet meme, and then there'll be like lefties who be like, well, that's not true. Like Soviets actually ate fine. And there's like a lot of differing data on this. So, in terms of like per acre of land, the Soviets were incredibly inefficient at creating food. They needed like way more labor because they just had like very poor innovative methods for like creating food. So, I forget what the exact ratio was, but like it was just like better in America for like in terms of creating food comparative to the Soviet Union. And that's usually what people are like referencing.
Also, like the division of labor in America was far more efficient.
Right.
It wasn't just that like we had more fertile lands. We had a better system.
Oh, for sure. We had more. We had a system where,
Like, we had better logistics.
to some extent, farmers would actually be punished for not doing things correctly, or for, exaggerating their labor, or for falsifying productivity reports. But in the Soviet Union, that's just how it was.
That's how it was. Yeah.
Because you had
There's-
you had hit certain marks. Because again, like society was based on, well, we need you to create what we need, and we're not going to let people do that for them because people don't know their best interests. So we are going to decide what the people need. It turns out that the one thing that's worse for deciding what people need than themselves is the government. The government is very bad at deciding what people need for them.
It truly is. Do you think that's do you think that's like a necessary component of the government, or do you think that there is a structure of government that could allow for the addressing of needs more efficiently?
Damn. I don't think so. I think that like the one thing you're going to see is like, well, theoretically we could, but never pragmatically.
Why never pragmatically? What's like the barrier?
I just think that people generally, like when their own interests are at play, are going to behave much more rationally than when they're not. Because we know where they stand, right? It's never like, well,
You're talking about like the people in power, and like they just have rational incentives
no,
to
like consumers. Consumers consumers have like rational incentives.
like people buying cigarettes, that kind of incentive, or
Well, I think people buying cigarettes is maybe an example of people acting like sub-rationally, for sure.
yeah, I agree. It's definitely it's or I wouldn't say sub. No, actually, I think it's very rational to buy cigarettes. I think it's like just not autonomous. And I think it's like sub-autonomously.
I don't think it's. Well, okay.
Because
It
the
depends.
rationality is pretty obvious, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
this
yeah.
you feel good.
Yeah.
Oh, this gets rid of the headache.
Right.
Like there's the rationale is obvious, but like it's not what you want to do. That's not like nobody wants to be a smoker.
So here I guess here I'm having a hard time explaining myself. Partially
No, sorry.
because I'm winning finally. So I'm total Chad, fucking kicking ass. Okay.
If I'm talking too much, let me know.
No, absolutely not. You're fine. If anything, that's good because I get caught up in macroing and I gotta. Then somebody's making a point, right? Instead of just awkward silence as I flounder trying to fucking kill some corruptors. Anyway. Give me a second. I think that generally speaking, people are best at allocating their own resources in terms of what they want in comparison to another actor. So you can look at smoking and you can say that it's suboptimal, and I think it is. I think it's definitely something that should be culturally discouraged for a number of reasons. But if an adult like somebody who's presumably equal to me, right, or presumably definitely has bodily autonomy and definitely has control over their lives, they want to make the calculation of, yeah, the good feeling that I get off of cigarettes is worth like the risk. I think stopping that is like morally worse, but under
Yeah, like,
my
smoking
prescriptions,
5 cigarettes like their entire life.
yeah,
That's weird.
under my prescriptions though, I do think that like it's still suboptimal. Like you still shouldn't, probably shouldn't smoke. You still shouldn't do things that are like suboptimal, and I'll criticize that using like evidence and everything. But again, like stopping somebody from doing something that they actually want, I think is sort of like an insinuation that you have power over them, that you are actually like their parent, that you control their body, not them controlling their body.
Yeah.
And so when you have like a free market, like that's why I think the principle is mostly being emphasized. And then when you have like any kind of interference, what you have is people saying, okay, like we have this value of like you having control of your body, but we really don't like it when you control your body in this way. So we're gonna like step in. And then you have some purists who are like, you never get to control my body. And then you have like some purists on the other end that are like, we are going to control every, we don't trust you to do anything, so we're going to control every single decision you make. And then you have everything in between. And I don't see a huge distinguishing factor with the thought process of, well, we're just like doing this to help you achieve your potential. Because again, you can use that to justify laws against smoking. Well, we're helping you achieve your potential because you're not going to get cancer and die. We could use this to justify laws against riding motorcycles because you might die. We could justify this for literally anything and any kind of law about like achieving your potential. Because the more important question in my mind is, why are you like, what is the underlying goal of trying to like make it so people can achieve their potential, as opposed to like whether or not people are just not fucked with? Well, ultimately it seems like the motivation is, if you didn't care about equity, and you wouldn't necessarily care if these people were not hitting their quote-unquote potential. So again, I think ultimately it comes down to like a concern for equity as opposed to a concern from rights. And I think that's like the greatest struggle. I was playing really greedy.
No, I agree. I agree for the most part, but like, what prevents like the government from being able to act in that way? That's like, because we were talking about like what it is that makes it so that like there's just this natural barrier for government structures to like address the needs of an individual.
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
We were talking about how like the government is just like inefficient at like addressing these needs, and then I'm wondering like, and then I asked like, oh, is there some sort of structure that we could, some unique structure that we can implement? And we're like, no, because like there's
you definitely couldn't put in like a moral structure, potentially.
Yes, that I agree with wholly. Yeah, people trying to put in structures and it's that's the religious part, right? That's the part where you're just straight up saying like, my morals should govern people.
I actually think it's immoral to say that. that's where my conception of morality comes in. I think it's immoral to say like my morals get to dictate what you do. But I think you could probably like, people like to talk about AI ruling over us. Do you watch? Have you ever seen Love, Death, and Robots?
I've seen clips. I haven't watched. I haven't watched any. I've watched one episode, I think, the one with the rats.
Okay, there is an episode where like yogurt becomes sentient and takes over like governing everything, and does like a much better job. And I think like theoretically you could probably have like an AI that could, if they had like sufficient enforcement power, like Killbots, control everything, and it would be like on paper more efficient at like maximizing something. But then the question becomes like, what are you trying to maximize and why? And so
that AI can't handle. I think the scariest thing about AI is that when it comes to how to do a thing, like we can't even compete it would be like trying to be smarter than our own brains.
Right.
Like it doesn't. It's like no, that's like my hands are never going to be as good at digging a hole as like the shovel that I build. Like like
Yeah.
so like when it comes to how to do things, it's the machine wins every time. But the machine doesn't have the other side of that coin, which is like what to do. Like that's strictly like a human thing.
What to do? Well, it's what to do is not just a human thing. It's like it's more about just like a question of like our own value system. So for me, and this is like, you know, this is the bullet that I have to bite every time, which is like I would prefer a society in which like the thing that's maximized is like people not getting fucked with, as opposed to like happiness or opposed. Oh boy. And a lot of people don't agree with that. A lot of people would be like, well, no, happiness is like the ultimate goal, right? Like nobody can argue with that. But I mean, why? Why does happiness have to be like the most important thing? Like, and we can think of like reductios, you know, like what if there's a situation that's pretty awful, but it overall maximizes happiness? Yeah, you know, I think there's arguments against hedonism, but I think a lot of people just assume hedonism is like the correct answer.
Have you heard of the utilitarian clam?
The utilitarian clam? Never heard of it.
Yeah. So basically, it's like, okay, if you're a utilitarian, if that's your value set, all right, would you live your life as like these crazy highs and lows as a human being, or would you live your life on like a steady diet of like 0.00001% happiness increase over an infinite amount of time? Now the thing is that over the infinite amount of time, that's just gonna be better.
It has to
Like,
be, yeah.
it has to be. Like, if you're a utilitarian, but nobody would want to live that life. You know what I mean? Like a mild existence over the course of like a million, or over the course of like an infinite amount of years. That's not the life anyone would reasonably want to live.
I think a lot of people argue for that, though.
Yeah, people do argue for that. Like people argue for being like domesticated house pets.
Yeah.
Like they want the government to treat them like they're a pet, like they're a house cat. Just feed me.
Yep. That's the yogurt episode.
Yeah, it's it's like the ultimate like secession of power games, and I don't like it. It makes me really angry. Like I think part of being the human race is to conquer, like conquer like the world, and you conquer the world
In a
by
peaceful
like
way.
yeah, no, but you conquer it not by like killing, you know, other pieces of your body. You conquer it by going out into nature, you know, going to Mars as a species, not just as like Americans or Chinese. Like obviously there's these local power games that we have to compete, but like at the end of the day, it's us versus the world, right? Like it's
You an Elon Musk fanboy?
no, I am not.
You don't like Elon Musk?
I like his investments. I don't like him. Does that make sense?
I hear a lot of people say that.
Twitter investment, that was a huge mistake. But like, yeah, the whole SpaceX thing, that's so cool. That's so cool.
SpaceX is awesome, and I hear a lot of people cope like, oh, well, NASA does it. It's like,
No.
if you actually look at like like SpaceX has like consistently outperformed NASA, and they've consistently outperformed like all of their competitors. Like something at that company is just like done very correctly.
Yeah, they got it right. Like whatever it is, they got it right. Like you can't take that away from them.
They're just doing it better, which is a difficult pill for a lot of people to swallow.
The returnable rocket brought the price of doing these kinds of trips down to like, I think it was like 10% or something like that. Like 10% of what it would normally cost. That's fucking crazy. It's crazy that we were spending that much money. Oh, but sorry. Why do you bring up Musk?
You said something that just reminded me of him.
It's Us versus the World.
No. Shit.
Hmm.
Something to do with something that he did. Fuck. I just lost. I hate Zerg versus Zerg. Yeah, so 1/50th the cost. When you actually look at like the price dropping from, oh yeah, you said because to go to Mars, right? That's what reminded me of Elon Musk. And,
Yes.
You know, he's all about going to Mars. But yeah, so between the reusable rockets and like the fuel consumption, the design of the rockets, everything, like you per kilogram of getting something into space, like the price has dropped dramatically. Like it truly is like an incredible feat, I think, of human engineering.
It is like it's like it's dude, I mean, honestly, it freaks me out to realize that like there was at one point in my life in which there were no robots on Mars, and now there are robots on Mars. That's
Yeah.
that's fucking weird. like that's weird.
I think it's cool. I agree that like going to space would be awesome, and I think it's awesome that SpaceX exists. Obviously, it's an incredibly heavily subsidized company. That's true, which is unfortunate, I suppose. But you know, I don't have the power to stop that part. So at the very least, we have somebody using the money good. They're using the money efficiently, right? They're getting shit into space for a lot cheaper than we could before, and so that's pretty fucking cool. What I don't like is like people who give it like way too much shit to you know, I don't like obsess. I mean, I like him. I don't like obsess about him as much. But I don't like it when people are like freaking out about like how awful he is. Like, oh, he's such a horrible person.
It seems envious.
He said this mean thing on Twitter. I think the important thing to realize is like, okay, people like, I think people do this with political candidates as well. They obsess about what kind of person they are as opposed to like their impact. So you really think like this is your least favorite CEO? This guy who's like out making electric cars and like rockets to go to space. You think this guy is like the worst because he said some edgy stuff on Twitter. Okay. Do you even know the name of like the CEO of Altria, or you know R.J. Reynolds, or you know Budweiser, like you know whoever makes Budweiser? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, they act like he's like a dumbass or something, but he's definitely not a dumbass.
Well, yeah, but
He's
like
not-
I'm just talking about like an impact, right? So like they don't know the names of the CEOs who are making like poison, right? Cigarettes, fast food, alcohol, shit like this. We don't even know them, but
Oh, I see your point. I thought you were saying like you're saying like like the logistics necessary for his job. No, but you're right. Like yeah, they go after him because he's memeable, not because like there's this real big fucking issue. Like the cigarettes kill way more people than like Elon Musk.
yeah, it's not even close. Like,
Yeah.
who the fuck did Elon Musk kill, right? Which one of Elon Musk's products like is actually like significantly dangerous compared to all these other like he's doing something interesting, and I think the people that just I think there's two reasons why people are upset about him. I think the first reason is that he's a little bit of an asshole on Twitter, and people like have a hard time coming to terms with that. I think the other reason people hate him is because he demonstrates something that they don't want to face, which is here we have a situation of some asshole who runs his business like an asshole, who's a general asshole on Twitter, and he's getting shit done, and he's doing it better than the government does. That pisses people off. People don't like the idea of private industry being more efficient, and a lot of their argument relies on it not being more efficient, and then when it is efficient, well, they see that as like one more bullet out of their magazine that they are using here to like try to justify world communism or to justify some kind of like enhanced government intervention or state takeover of enterprises.
That's true for the ideologues for sure.
Yeah.
I think though it's I think you also are expecting a little too much out of people.
I always do. That's my problem.
I think it's literally I think it has more to do with like jingling keys in front of a baby. Like this is just what's immediately in front of them on their Twitter feed, and they're angry about it. Like it's really dumb.
Yeah.
But there are definitely those out there who are like trying to like, or just angry that this is like counter to their narrative of like how like the communist utopia ought be.
Right. Exactly. and that's what I think like is actually pissing off a lot of them. They really don't like. Do they really
Yeah,
care? No, but
Like the seething hatred is
yeah,
like
the seething hatred, the obsession. This motherfucker is like mean onto people on Twitter. Like what a joke. Oh boy. Ooh, that hurt.
Are you familiar with okay, so Chris Rock came out with a new special. Did you see it at all?
I didn't see it, but I heard like the biggest thing that people were watching for is just his comment on like the Will Smith slap. That's what they wanted to see.
But he had a theme called Selective Outrage.
Yeah, that's the name of the special, wasn't it?
Yeah, about like when I was watching it, it sort of reminded me of like this quote from a book by ooh, sorry, one second.
Yeah. Somebody needs help.
Living in the city, baby. No, but there's this book called Simulacra and Simulation by John Baudrillard. It inspired The Matrix. In the book, it talks about how Watergate is not actually a scandal. Because like JFK ordered the Bay of Pigs and nobody gave a shit. And the Watergate is a burglary.
Hot take.
Like-
I think we should have supported the Bay of Pigs, but we didn't.
Oh,
I thought the Bay of Pigs was a good idea. It would have fucking worked if we hadn't betrayed our the people who we trained at the end, last moment. Literally the last moment. We left them high and dry. It's fucking crazy.
okay, that is a hot take. I'll admit.
Cuba
you-
could have
you-
been fucking like a liberated country, but no.
I will say this much though. It was a scandal, right? Like,
Hmm.
how is burglary a scandal that's like impeachable,
Oh, sure.
but not that?
Well, because one is like a geopolitical decision and the other is like a domestic crime. I can see why like people would treat one differently than the other just on principle. That being said, I do think that JFK should have gotten way more shit for abandoning unit. I think it was Unit 801 or something. I forget what it was called, but the people who were like going back to try to retake Cuba, he just straight up fucking abandoned them, and they all either died or got captured. Imagine that, like landing on an island, being promised like U.S. air support, and then like the planes never come. That would be so fucking. I'd be pissed.
I would shit myself. I would actually
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, that's literally what happened. Like at the last moment, JFK was like, we're not gonna do it. They landed the fucking guys, and they just didn't send the planes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But like, okay, but like that's worse than Watergate. That's so much worse than Watergate. Watergate was what? Like Nixon hired a burglar to take a file from like the DNC.
Sure. Yeah.
Like how is that even comparable? Like the one is so much more severe.
Sure.
Like they're on complete different magnitudes, and yet, like, that's the thing that we consider a scandal. Like, there's something wrong here. There's a cognitive dissonance that's not being addressed here, and that's kind of like sort of you're trying to get at with like people getting mad at Elon Musk. It's like there's so many other companies out there that are so much like that really do deserve your vitriol. This is not one of them. Or at least, yeah.
So there's that element. I just want to point out quickly. One of the things that I think separates me to some extent from a lot of other like libertarian-minded people, which all nothing but respect for them. I think that there's different ways to I guess interpret what is the overall goal of not infringing upon people's consent. But yeah, I'm generally like, I think a lot of the military action against communism was justified like, on a principle basis. Oftentimes when it wasn't justified, it was because we fucked it up. and I think the Bay of Pigs in Vietnam I think are two examples where in concept I really like them and I really wish they would have been successful. And really the reason that like they're a problem is that they bungled them. They fucked up. There was no reason for them to fuck up the way they did, but they did. It's very disappointing.
Like
What are your thoughts on Vietnam?
Vietnam. Ooh. I'm just glad that when the Chinese invaded right after we left, they also got their ass kicked.
They took some land though. They got away with some land. We didn't.
Oh, that was easy for them.
We got nothing. Got nothing out of that fucking war.
Yeah, but we were on the other side of the fucking ocean.
Well, I'm just saying, like we didn't get an ally. We didn't get any kind of like social cred.
Well, I don't know. Like we're kind of allied now.
Well, that wasn't because of the Vietnam War. I mean,
No, but that was because of China,
because of China, yeah.
which sort of invaded because of our invasion. Like, so in a weird sort of roundabout way.
Sure, yeah, like a butterfly in a butterfly effect kind of way. Like perhaps ultimately, yeah, we actually, I don't know. That's a weird argument.
That's a weird one, right? Like that's why.
But I can see the logic, yeah.
It's very weird. Vietnam is a strange time. It is okay. It's weird that we don't talk about the Korean War nearly as much as Vietnam, because like, man, South Korea is a great country. Like South Korea, oh boy.
Another example, I think, of an anti-communist like action that turned out incredibly well, right? Like imagine what the South Koreans would be fucking living in right now if it wasn't for the UN. And that wasn't just a US effort, by the way. That was like the UN. There were blue helmets involved in that conflict. Partially because the Soviets kind of like made a stupid decision.
No. The stupid decision was made after World War II when we didn't invade the Soviet Union. Okay, that was the stupid
They
decision.
probably would have lost, dude. Like
We had the bomb. We had the bomb,
but we didn't have that many of them, and like the Soviet ground army was like so much bigger than anything we had in that area, and like even with all of our allies. Like
We had functioning tanks.
there was a
and
huge power vacuum left behind after Germany fell. And in fact,
Wait,
that was part of the negotiation tactic that Germany tried. Like, hey, like you're gonna have to deal with the Soviets too, you know. Like, you should keep us around. We didn't take that, but that was their argument.
We you know what? We should have.
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
an edgy take.
we still, you know, we conquer the fuck out of those Nazis.
Yeah.
We conquer the fuck out of them. But you know, like, just keep going. You know, like you get to retain some things, some of your country. But listen, imagine how much better Germany would be if America just had all of it from the start. If the
Oh, for sure. I mean, look at West Germany compared to East Germany. Again,
yeah,
like,
see,
just not even close.
this is why we should have invaded.
Well, but we couldn't, right? Like, it was just a pragmatic consideration at that point. Like, their army was massive, way bigger than what we had. We had just, you know, finished a major war. You know, people didn't want to fight anymore, right? V-Day was just celebrated. We had Korea afterwards, and that was big enough for a lot of people. And Korea was kind of a proxy war, by the way. So, God, he keeps coming.
Yeah, Korea was all, yeah. Do you think we should have left Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Really?
I know it's like a
Oh, who's the leftoid now?
well, a lot of lefties were in favor of staying actually because of like how women and gay people were treated after the Americans
They
just
were
left.
in favor of staying because because Donald Trump said leave. That's why they were in favor of staying. Okay, that's and I say that as you know.
You're probably right. You're probably correct. Yeah.
Like, listen, I was watching. I was one of them at the time. Okay.
Damn,
But no,
that was not that long ago. Wow.
I always thought we should have stayed in Afghanistan. Like even when Donald Trump was saying we should leave. That's actually one of the reasons why I didn't like Donald Trump. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about?
I thought that like the reason for leaving is an entirely pragmatic one, where we had been there. It wasn't like Vietnam was a lot closer than people remember or people think. Like we actually probably could have won it at one point, but again, the last moment in typical fashion, we pulled air support again.
Yeah.
But
Wait, didn't we also do that in Afghanistan?
we had no we had no plan for victory in Afghanistan. Like what did victory look like? Nobody could say.
It looked like nation building, and
Well, it looked like nation building, but like again, we just like we had been there for so long, and none of our fucking we had achieved none of our goals. Like it was just horrible, and we were losing ground at the fucking end, despite the fact that we kept putting shit in. The Afghan government was corrupt as fuck. They were just basically. It was interesting. I saw a documentary one time about a guy who had like was in Afghanistan. He was like interviewing a lot of like the government officials there and a lot of the military personnel. And one of the Afghan commanders there made, I think, an incredibly interesting statement where he hated he was part of the Afghan army, and he hated the fact the Americans were there because he said, well, if these Americans would just leave, then they wouldn't be using any of this equipment. We would get all the equipment. And like the failure, like the dots that he wasn't connecting in his brain were, if the Americans leave, you're not getting the equipment. The equipment's going with them. But like he just didn't understand that, like that concept.
they had like, I feel like it was like they had gotten so used to like having that military support that they like just sort of forgot how to fight by themselves.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you were like telling your little brother like every move in a card game or a video game, and then when he's told to like do it himself, he can't do it. We little broed
Oh my
the
God.
Afghani military to death.
Damn, this happened again.
Insufficient Vespene gas.
I do think though we were making some progress. No.
No, we weren't making any progress. We didn't accomplish shit. What did we accomplish? Like, we were losing ground at the end. What did we accomplish? Well, all that time, all that money.
Women were allowed to go to school.
Okay, in Kabul, yes, there were some accomplishments there. But I'm talking about, like, in terms of overall strategic long-term planning. I don't think there was anything done.
I mean, there almost wasn't. I agree, but I feel like that has to do with our government style of like running things. Because every like 4 to 8 years, there was a new guy in charge. Like, kind of made things a little bit weirder to have long-term strategies.
Sure.
Okay, one thing I will admit that like Rome does better than the United States is take over a place. Yeah, like ancient Rome. Like when they took over a place, it was just like, okay, this is your religion now. This is your government now. This is your new head of state, and you guys just relax, and you'll eventually become citizens. As abhorrent and like I don't agree with that kind of method. It's so much more effective than, okay, yes, we invaded your country. Now, do you guys want us to stay? Here's a vote. And like, no, we don't want you to stay. All right, well, too bad. We're gonna be here anyway. Like,
Oh, another stupid war was Iraq. That was another stupid war we never should have done.
listen, Saddam was a bad dude.
But the thing about like Iraq specifically is, I think that was an example of just like this American obsession with democracy is good sometimes, but then you have situations where you really shouldn't do it, right? Like when you invade a country, like we did with Germany, like we did with Japan, like they were under military government for a while, right? They were occupied. We didn't do this fucking bullshit where like we handed off control if we weren't comfortable handing off control, on like the principle of democracy. That's what we did with Iraq, right? We handed off control very quickly. And then, you know, once we did that, like a lot of the same problems remained. We had, you know, we pulled out, we had ISIS, we went back in, and now the whole country is just basically like a client state of Iran. So that's a major problem.
Yeah, that one didn't work out.
That did not work out at all. What a waste.
It was bad. However, can we acknowledge that Iraq was the 4th largest military in the world at the time, and we like destroyed them in like 72 hours.
Were they the 4th? I didn't know that.
They were the 4th largest military in the world, and we sneezed at them.
Wait, in terms of spending, or like obviously not in terms of manpower, or like other in terms of spending?
Like tanks, vehicles, some degree manpower.
More than India? I'm thinking it would have been America, the Soviet Union, and then like India, America and Soviet Union, China, and then like India or somewhere.
Let me see.
I know they were like, they had a bunch. Oh, this is why. They had a whole bunch of cool shit. I know that, and but I do think that they were completely outgunned right at the end, obviously, because they were going against the Iraq War. That was, why did I say Soviet Union? I mean that would have been U.S., Russia, China. Sorry.
I have an article on the Midland Daily News. It says Iraq's army was once the world's 4th largest army.
Mm-hmm.
I can send it to you. But at the time that we like annihilated them, yeah. Oh wait, no, sorry. No. This wasn't the first. Sorry, they were the 4th largest army at the time
during the Iran-Iraq War.
Yeah, during the Gulf War, I think.
Or the Gulf War, okay. So many fucking wars, dude. It's hard to like keep it in order. Like which Iraq War, first they invaded Iran, then they lost, and there was a Gulf War, and then they lost, and then there was like the actual.
You really should call it the Iraq War too.
Yeah, and then there was the intervention, where Saddam was overthrown, and there was like a government put in place that was pro-Iranian, and then it's just.
Yeah, it's from 1980 to 1990s. That they were like the 4th largest army, and we just obliterated them, like in a matter of days.
Of course, yeah.
Like, it took Caesar like months to conquer Gaul, and that was just like a couple hundred dudes with swords.
Well, it wasn't just us. It was a whole coalition. Like there was basically all the surrounding Arab states and.
Yeah, but that coalition wouldn't exist without us.
Okay? Yeah, it wouldn't. And the really interesting thing is, so at the time, Iraq was shooting missiles at Israel to try to get Israel to join the war, so that the neighboring Muslim countries would not. They would leave and they wouldn't fight on the side of Israel. And so, like literally, what happened was like the U.S. contacted Israel and was like, "Look, they're going to be firing missiles at you. Like, please don't intervene." And that's literally like what happened, and they didn't intervene. And so that's how the coalition was actually able to stay throughout the course of the war.
Yeah, we tried to do something similar in Iraq War II, but
Electric Boogaloo.
But it was just the Australias and the Brits.
There's a bit of historical accuracy, all right? Caesar didn't go into Gaul with just a couple hundred men. He went into Gaul with 4 legions and came back with 11 legions.
You pissed off the wrong person.
No, I'm sorry. I was being hyperbolic. I know it's not true. Oh my god.
I mean, obviously Caesar should have fucking stayed in Italy, but you know what? That's life.
Yeah.
Well, the Italians just shouldn't have assassinated him. That's what they should have done.
Anyway.
Oh man. Dude, I gotta get food.
Yeah, it is Easter, and I'm gonna be going having a family Easter dinner. So thank you guys for chatting with me. Really appreciate that. Do you prefer okay? What do you prefer to be called here? So before you were Roan, now you're Conscious Content.
Oh,
Could I call you CC? Is that
no,
CC 69?
That's too close to CNC. Okay.
Okay.
So
What do you want?
we're Roan. No, Roan is my name.
Roan? Okay.
But I gotta get back on this YouTube channel.
Okay.
I have a couple of video essays I want to do, but
Cool.
right now I'm focusing on school and stand up.
Yeah, if you find a good editor who can make a video essay look dramatic and cool without any fucking dumb clickbait thumbnails.
I've been working on
Let me know.
my own editing skills. I've been
Yeah?
working on I just fiddle around with stuff. I've been trying to learn it, but it's mostly it's sort of like playing with a Rubik's cube. It's just more like fiddling
Right.
than it is actually learning.
Sure. Yeah, I gotta do that. I gotta just get better at editing, or find somebody who's really, really good at editing and make that whole thing easier. Because, I mean, I could think of topics to make video essays on. That would be fun. I don't think I have any shortage of that.
I might know a guy.
All right, well,
I'm not too close. I like to think I'm close to them. I just haven't talked to him in years. But he is an editor.
If you find somebody good, let me know, because there's all these fucking people that advertise to you. Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah, I don't like them. I feel like it's a lot like spam. But anyway, so what is it? Roan? Does that work?
Yep.
Okay. Roan. Well, thank you, Roan. Thank you, Lawson. Thank you, Kano. Man, the campaign button is right over your name. What is it? Kano Kane?
Quinn.
Kano Quinn. Good shit.
Yeah.
No, Lacroid.
Have you might have seen me before. I don't know if you. I mean, I'm from Fabian's, so.
Yeah. No, we love Fabian. He's we don't see eye on all the utilitarian sort of warfare stuff. But in terms of I think a base level goal of trying to make society more rights focused and consent focused, I think he's a force for good. I think he's a great guy.
It's okay. I left you a gift in the embedded chat.
In the what?
The embedded chat.
Okay. With the embedded chat, what are you talking about?
Of the voice channel, the text chat.
Oh, sure. I'll take a look at it. That's scaring me. I'm guessing I probably shouldn't look at it in stream.
I know, it's fine if you do.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me just.
I've got some more right now.
In the voice chat.
I made it too complicated.
Wait, no, I found it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy your Easter dinner, man.
Yeah. No, happy Easter, everybody. Thank you for talking to me. And a big thank you to everyone who tuned in and watched. What we are going to be doing now. Well, first, before I need to remember to say this, if you liked the kind of chill content today, we got really solid audience right now. So that's awesome. We're going to be doing this as well as the normal debate stuff that we do. The panel debates, we do panel debates usually every Monday, and then we try to do one more throughout the week, and then we do also more kind of relaxed call-in sort of talk discussions, on Sundays, the weekend, or anything like that. Thank you, Federer. As always, Federer is a great member of this community, always dropping the best puns and the worst puns, but the worst pun, I guess, is the best pun. That's how they work. But if you like the content, please consider giving me a follow. That way you can see when I come online, and you can see more of this content. But the content has come to an end because I have to go have Easter dinner with my wonderful mother and my wonderful father. So we're going to go ahead and raid out. The issue is I don't know who to raid out into. Does anybody have any ideas? Who's a good one to raid out to that's streaming right now?
That's streaming right now? No idea.
No idea.
Is Eric your turn? Or Big Nick Energy?
I've seen a lot of commies online recommended channels. That's not good.
No, that's not good.
We don't want to raid out to them. We want to raid out to. Okay, so hot tub streamer, no. Dane Cook Gaming. Dane Cook is a gamer?
Wait, what the hell? Okay, yes.
Or no?
Raid out
No.
to Dane Cook.
I hate. Okay, I apologize in advance if you guys actually like Dane Cook.
I don't.
I've never found him funny. I don't know. I've never found him funny. I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid. But
I found him hilarious as a kid. As I grew older, I was like, oh, I was dumb.
I'm literally gonna like. Okay, I'm gonna Google like.
But no, you have to raid out Dane Cook. You have to. I'm telling
No,
you.
absolutely not.
That's just so funny for the memes.
No, because no, for the memes. What's the meme? Watching Dane Cook and then getting bored after 15 minutes and then.
Fuck is lactoid?
That might be kind of funny. So I just looked up. Oh wait, I looked up streamers twice. Conservative.
What if he comes on your stream? Like, what if he's actually such a low-level streamer?
That might be kind of cool. There's so many hot tub streamers. My God, I'm looking through the recommended channels: pools, hot tubs, and beaches. Pools, hot tubs. Wait, that's a category? Pools, hot tubs, and beaches is a whole category of streaming?
Wait, are they each separate categories?
No. So like in the same way, this is like just chatting. They have like a separate category called tubs,
Lounging.
pools, hot tubs, and beaches. Who's?
The paraphilic relationships are abundant and
Oh
numerous.
my God.
Yeah, this is the fall of the empire.
Hassan's streaming. No, we're not.
No.
God, he gets so many people. It's crazy to me. He's an.
What's the audience want? What's the audience really want?
I'm
The vast
surprised.
majority of Americans are retarded.
And by the way, anybody in my Twitch chat who has any suggestion of who to stream out to, let me know.
There's one reason.
Sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
go on, sorry. I was just going to say there's one reason and one reason alone why Hassan Piker gets people into his Twitch channel, and it's because they have low IQ.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't disagree. There's somebody here who's on my recommended channels who's streaming getting taped to a wall outside for 24 hours. That's apparently what they're streaming. That's it.
What the fuck?
Riveting content.
Riveting. You know,
Riveting.
I'm looking here. I might just have to fucking stream raid on into Dane Cook Gaming. He's the only person that's come up under recommended channels.
Do it.
I'm gonna go to the general. If I can't find anybody else, we're doing Dane Cook. Okay, do you like my stock? Okay, a lot of this is just like blatant softcore pornography.
I do gotta go because I'm
right.
starving. I haven't eaten food.
Yeah,
But-
go eat.
But yeah, this is fun.
Absolutely.
Happy to have me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for chatting. Anybody's invited, and it's always good to have people come chat.
Yep. Yeah, see you guys.
Yep, catch you later.
Be forewarned, if you don't have the correct opinions, me and Lactoid will flame you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's part of that's the risk of
You get the
coming on.
Paleolib and you get the ANCAP to come flame you.
I think I actually
Or what do you qualify as? I don't know.
I would consider myself a libertarian, but not under some people's definitions.
Fair.
Some people have very like a more purist definition, maybe more like ANCAP is like libertarian only, but yeah. I think I found out what I'm gonna do though. I found somebody that I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that I know them from DGG. I
God.
don't know if it's the same person, but I'm thinking I'm gonna raid on into him. He's
It brings me back.
yeah. Well, he's talking about Andrew Tate, Trump, and Ukraine. So there's definitely going to be stuff there to disagree with. But we're going to give him a raid. Thank you all again for tuning in. Like I said before, give me a follow, please, if you enjoyed the content. That way you can get more of it and support the channel. Now here we go. Raid. And just to be clear, this guy that we're raiding into probably has got terrible politics. So don't be afraid to give him shit for it. If it's
Use all the words.
well, don't use TOS, nothing TOS. Just give him like in a playful kind of way. Give him a little bit of a ribbing. I think I know him too. So anyway, thanks guys. All right.
Sorry.
No, you were great.